Let's see how Google Chrome treats us. Do it again.
Hey, wait, we're live? Are we live?
I think so.
We made it. We
Yes.
finally did it. It's back. All right.
Live-ish.
Live-ish. It's working.
It's
I guess
working.
that's a better way of saying
So
it. It's
far.
working?
So
It's
far.
working. Okay. From the landing strip in Houston, Texas, it's the HWR Decade in review for the 2010s. This is it.
It's Chris.
And thank you so much for tuning in and watching this little here episode. There's been a lot of care and effort that has gone into making this freaking episode finally see the light of day.
You're ungrateful.
Yeah. This episode's been snake bitten from the very beginning.
If it makes you feel any better, this probably isn't going to make it in either.
Oh, damn it. Okay. Well, here's to hoping that this one will make it. I know it's the last day of the year of the month for January. So yeah, this is coming out a little bit late. We intended for this to be a little bit earlier in the month or whatever, but it's fine. If you are, watching along, please, if you come up with, something you want to say, you could interact with us on Facebook at Houston Wrestling Radio or on Twitter at H Wrestling Radio, or just drop a comment down here below. Don't forget to subscribe and all that good stuff. So today, if you guys are fans of HW, the best few is a male superstar, a female superstar of the year, all that stuff, and we culminate with what we say is our match of the year, and we have like a numbering system with points and a bunch of stuff where we say this is the match of the year, and we have to come to a consensus and fun time with it. But we do have a fun. What category?
Okay. Ooh. Faction.
Yes, notes.
He does have notes.
I actually have notes.
He has notes.
Actually, no, I say Bullet Club.
Yes. Was it that obvious?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. This is his answer. I'm sorry. Yeah, go for it.
You already said it. Yes, it was obvious.
Yeah.
They were the ones that, in a weird way, brought wrestling kind of back up into the mainstream, and for their stuff to not be sold on their companies like New Japan or WWE stuff. No, this one's sold. They started getting their merchandise into mainstream of go to a store, Hot Topic, which every freaking mall has.
Yeah.
And you get their shit there. So
there's not going to be a strong argument for anybody else as far as Faction of the Decade goes that compares to what you just said. Yeah, it transcended wrestling, went into the mainstream. Everybody was walking around with the Bullet Club shirt. There was more people walking around with Bullet Club shirts than I saw back at in like the 90s wearing fucking NWO shirts, So yeah, it was a big fucking deal. I mean, I can't even come up with any faction or whatever, but no, if we're talking about the entire decade, I'd have to say the Bullet Club. But I know that like some people are going to get picky about this and saying that, oh, they were the full decade. So let's kind of throw this out here. You guys are a little bit better with the dates than I am. When did Bullet Club start?
2014, 2013.
sounds about right.
We could still say
because Finn was the leader first, and then he was there for about 2 years, and then AJ came in, stole his thunder. He was there for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
Then Kenny took his thunder, and he was there for at least 2.5 years, almost 3 years. And then
Jay White.
And now Jay White.
Oh.
So favorite.
I know, right?
So it feels like it covers the whole decade, depending on what highs or lows or what you're looking. Oh, you made it clear your opinion, but you might have a lot of people out there that feel the way you do. That Yeah. Finn, AJ, Kenny.
Yeah. The rest.
So, the rest.
Yeah.
And the rest.
Do you have anybody else that you would say would be Faction of the Decade, Chris? Or are you agreeing with us?
That's my pick.
That's your pick.
But for argument's sake.
Oh, because I have one for argument's sake. Go ahead.
Go first then.
You sure?
I'm going with the Cliff Notes, bro.
Okay.
Go for it. Not filling this gap.
If you want to fill in the gap for the first part of the decade, because all right, we estimated 2020, 2013, 2014. What was around there a little bit earlier than that? Aces and eights. Ow! Fuck. Aces and eights, man. They were the only thing that was keeping TNA afloat and keeping the attention of fans to look at TNA at the beginning of the decade, 2010 through maybe about 2013, 2014. Mm-hmm. Aces and eights was the only goddamn thing that people cared about for that promotion.
And it was a slow burn.
It was a slow burn, and it was
the
over.
Reveal of the leader. Fuck. Yeah. Sometimes the easy way is the right way to go, but it was a fucking
let it simmer.
Yeah. And it was fucking done perfectly.
Yeah. All I gotta say is, Taz, yeah, buddy. My balls! I'm sorry.
Travis.
That's the great stuff.
Oh,
that's the great stuff there. So that could be the other argument. I can think of a couple of fringe cases, but do you two have anything else as far as arguments go for any faction?
If you want to build a case on paper as far as accomplishments, we might not be the biggest fans of it now, but how do we pick our match of the years? How do we decide if a match is match of the year?
Usually consensus, and then we
Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta. Yeah, all three of those guys are heavyweight champions. All three of those guys at one point were at the top of everybody's tongue as far as, holy crap, Seth Rollins and fucking Triple H. Holy shit, Dean Ambrose finally got the moment. Boo Roman. Boo Roman. Wait. Oh, yeah, boo Roman. But and they kept bringing him back, and it worked. And then they split him up again. And then, oh, hey, the final ride and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And
that lasted 2012 to about, 2018?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like going along that. Their rivals during that time that caught my attention that I was kind of mesmerized was the Wyatt family when it first began.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Getting the whole psychological aspect of it. That actually made one of my factions there. Mm-hmm. But same thing with the Shield. They were all there.
Mm-hmm. Any love for the New Day?
I was going to mention that as another honorable mention. I don't know. I mean, I guess technically there would be a faction, but it's just 3 dudes. So I don't know. Is that more of a tag team?
Then again, the Shield is the same thing.
Yeah, that's true too.
Hogan, Hall, and Nash. If you break it down to the bare bones of the beginning,
yeah. I mean, I guess so. I mean, you got to show some love to the New Day because they've been over this entire time that they've been together. They came together, I want to say 2016.
Oh, hell nah. 14? 2014.
Okay,
bro,
so that's
they were heels for at least 2 years, and then they became faces for about 2.5.
It wasn't 2 years that they were heels. It was less than that.
Oh no, it was more.
It was
sure?
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was around that title run with Seth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when Seth was heel and New Days were
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's true.
And we all love the New Day. I love me some New Day. So yeah. You know what? You know what? You have to make an argument for that.
Man, if only there was more time in the decade. Someone that could a group that could really make noise.
Oh, yeah, I know where you're going with this.
Undisputed.
Yeah, Undisputed Era.
Fucking Undisputed. I mean, they might not all have the resume here, but that goes back to why do we like Undisputed? Fucking Adam Cole.
Baby.
And Ring of Honor, Rough Shot. And he's not even in his 30s yet. Kyle O'Reilly, another former heavyweight champion, Ring of Honor. Bobby Fish, those 2 Red Dragon tag champions. Roddy, he's got his resume in Ring of Honor also. So there's established guys. So when you bring them into an audience that is tired of the PG, overproduced crap, where the loser gets dog food, and then you get you get NXT and Undisputed Era, which in the beginning I said it on this show. I thought the name was retarded. 6 months later, I'm doing the fucking hand gestures and all this shit and traveling to fucking takeovers because they're taking my money.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they would have had another, I'd say 2 years, I would think they could possibly rival Bullet Club, which oddly enough, Adam Cole's another member.
He was a leader of Bullet Club for a cup of coffee, right?
Yeah.
But even going at that, just having the legacy of Adam Cole, his original faction, I believe, is still intact. The name is still being used.
You come out of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up until very recently. Because now that Taven's kind of babyface again, and Vincent's like trying to kill him and all that other stuff. But yeah, even to this point, the Kingdom's still been around because pretty much Adam Cole. I mean, we're like all the guys you've interviewed them, hung around with them.
Yeah.
But you know damn well which one's the man and which one are the guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, a couple more years, you can make a pretty good argument undisputed against the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Those were my honorable mentions. Actually, surprising, I was not expecting you took aces and eights, and I was gonna show them some shine too.
Sorry.
Not at all, because it's easy for casual guys. You know, most of our old episodes back when the day we first started, 90% of our coverage was purely WWE. So
we started in 2012.
Yeah. So the fact that there's going to be a lot of like love from everywhere in this show tonight, and the fact that aces and eights are already kicking it off for Impact.
I'm glad you kind of bring that up about like when we started or whatever, because yes, this is a decade in review. Have we, as Houston Wrestling Radio, been around the entire decade? No, we started at 2012, and
October.
October 2012, the tail end of it, and it was myself and Travis. Since then,
he's here.
He's somewhere around here. Since then, we've had Chris join up. Probably around 2013.
2013, exactly.
2013. You've been here with me the entire time, and then. And then we had, faces come and go. We had Brennan as our unofficial fourth co-host for a while.
I still have a milk carton of his face on it ever since he got F5 from Brock. I'm still looking for my Choco Taco partner.
Yeah. And, we also had Arnold for a while here towards the tail end of it. Mm-hmm. And, we've added on Hector. And yeah, so we've kind of seen a few different faces. Of course, Aaron's been on, Scott has been on, several different friends, and many interviews with different local talent over the decade,
and mainstream talent too.
Yeah, exactly.
Clutch City.
Yeah, exactly. John Morrison, Tito Santana, Scott Steiner, Scott Hall.
Scott Steiner.
that's Scott Steiner interview. Ooh, jeez.
Playing N64 against Jinder Mahal.
Yeah. But it's been a good year for us. But I kind of went off on a tangent. My point originally was going to be, yes, we did not cover 2010 to 2012 because we just weren't here yet. But we are definitely going to count some of that in there. And a lot of the reason why my pick for honorable mention on that would be in the aces and eights is because, well, TNA was something that I still liked 2010. I know that when we started, it was kind of already starting to be cool to realize that TNA's fixing to die, and it never did.
Yeah.
But for the most part, since 2012, we're like, oh man, surely TNA is going to go away. And
this is the year.
One thing that kept TNA up in our early years was the aces and eights. So, since HWR has been around, we've been bashing TNA for a long time. But since Abel's been a fan, Abel fucking loved TNA for a long, long time. I loved it more than WWE, and I thought it was going to overtake WWE at some point. It never did, but that's why it just kind of put that disclaimer out there.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I
not that I hated TNA. Not that I was one of those guys that hates TNA. Obviously, the proof is in the pudding. Yep. I've been to several TNA shows myself, and they were very good. But hope there's going to be a lot of this tonight.
Okay,
we're spreading it between all basically damn near every company's probably going to get a shout here.
Yeah.
How about tag team of the year of the decade? I'm so used to doing year in reviews. I need to fit the word decade in my vocabulary. Abel, 2010's. Give me a tag team that stands out.
All right, my pick.
Your pick.
My pick. The Young Bucks.
Is that same thing?
You got the same? What about you? Young Bucks?
Yeah.
The Young Bucks defined this year. And again, this decade. I've had the same problem as you. The Young Bucks defined this decade.
Yeah.
And you may want to make the argument that, oh no, they haven't been around, this and that. Bullshit.
Generation Me.
Generation Me. Thank you. Yes. Again, back to TNA at the beginning of the decade. Generation Me, they were, whatever, green, hardy wannabes, whatever, but they were still pretty entertaining back then. Remember the fucking shit with Victoria, where Victoria was a cougar and they only kind of liked them and was the manager or whatever? Okay, cool. But then once they started becoming the Young Bucks, not Generation Me, they went to Japan, they became big, and then this whole thing with Meltzer and with other people that cover the industry is all because of the criticism of the style that the Young Bucks had.
And now everybody wants to be like the Young Bucks.
Yeah, and then you still have people like Cornette that criticize it, but then you have people like Meltzer who they kind of tongue-in-cheek make fun of by doing the Meltzer driver, but then Meltzer all of a sudden was like, you know what, their matches are badass. So, like, it just kind of came around.
They just got tired of fighting it.
They redefined how you actually wrestle in a tag team match in the ring this generation. They changed the way you actually fucking put together a match. It used to be, this is bullshit flippy dippy stuff and you can't use it to work because it doesn't make sense. And then that's when they said, really? You think it doesn't make sense just because it's flippy dippy? No, we're going to still tell our stories with the flippy dippies. It doesn't matter if it's a DDT or an indie taker. You're getting an offense on your opponent, right? So tag team, I say it has to go to them. You guys, what do you say?
I feel the same way, and I just love the way that they take their negatives and turn it into a positive. For instance, a couple of years back when WWE did the cease and desist, they made that into a move.
So give me a one sweet. One sweet. Ow! And then they make sure it's a fucking everything,
More
dude.
bang for your buck.
Yeah,
man, they created a lot of stuff.
You want to talk about the Bullet Club and Hot Topic and all that?
They
a lot
were
of
the
that
forefront of that
was because of the Bucks, exactly. And of course, towards the end of the decade, they're a part of the fucking new federation that's out there as the Elite, and they created All Elite Wrestling along with Cody. So there is so much shit that goes along with the Young Bucks that. All from 2010 to the end of 2019, there is something with the Young Bucks in this decade that's so significant. Chris, I'm sorry, I started talking again.
No, you're fine. We all agree again, unanimously. Young Bucks is the team. Can you make an argument for another team?
Here's a weird one. Going back to Undisputed Era, O'Reilly and Fish.
Red Dragon, baby.
That's exactly on my.
And I have them. At first I wrote them down as Undisputed Era because that's how they're known now. Yeah. But
it's Red Dragon.
Going back, I knew them as Red Dragon, and seeing them even the Wrestle Kingdom matches.
Yeah,
I love seeing them in the one of the matches that stands out for me is that Fatal 4-Way tag team match for the junior heavyweights, and it was them versus the Young Bucks, I believe. Versus
Wrestle Kingdom 9?
I think so.
Even now I remember that too, because the at that time the Japanese crowd wasn't used to seeing non-Japanese wrestlers do that puroresu. And that's what got my attention with Red Dragon. When you see the tag team wrestling in the United States, and then before Brock Lesnar, before Ronda Rousey, before Shayna Baszler, it was them. Those guys that were bringing that ground and not just ground and pound, but the real MMA style submissions, holds, manipulation, and them doing it together as a team. The Axe and Smash, that's been around the whole decade, bro. The different styles, like Bobby Fish, you look at him and he looks like he has all the charisma in the world. I'm not saying he doesn't, but he has a look that defines Bobby Fish. Kyle O'Reilly is like toast.
His look is toast.
His look is toast.
As
soon as you give him a microphone or as soon as you give him a body, he will blow your fucking mind. Even now, I still get that. Oh man, you got any more of that Red Dragon? You know, because
I still remember those interviews in ROH with them. For once, is the Christmas gift. It's like, I got you this, and Fish is like, oh, thank you for being thoughtful, and they open it up, and it's the tag team title. Like, well, guess what? I got you a gift too. They like a story time sessions, and it was broken down to like difference. I was like, oh man, guys, hilarious.
Can I move away from the Red Dragon love and throw?
Go for it.
All right. When you're asking about factions, I hesitated when you guys brought this up because in my mind, tag team, New Day. I know that you guys wanted to put them in the faction, but for the most part, it wasn't all three of them wrestling all at the same time. There was a phase, there are phases that they go through where it was just Kofi and Xavier.
Or just Kofi and Big E. Once Xavier had Francesca, you wanted him to be playing on that shit while the other two were going.
And now it's E and Kofi again. Yeah. And again, as we said in the factions, over Ike Rover. So that's
on their own. Yeah. Because whatever they told them to do, it wasn't working. They just ran with it, and now it's like fucking all right. I want pancakes.
You wanna take any others?
I got one.
This is gonna be a weird pick because I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I can't deny who they are now and what they were in the beginning.
Is it the Usos?
Exactly.
Yes. Thank you.
Fucking Usos.
I was gonna say the Usos too.
And I don't want to be biased because we saw Yin and Yang.
We did
in PWA
here in Houston, Booker T's promotion.
But you see them from like Black Ultimate Warriors with the face paint and the tassels, and then actually they didn't even cut promos. All they were there for was to wrestle against the Wyatt family, against freaking the Shield and all that.
Back when they used to do the Samoan dance,
the Hakas and stuff.
Yeah.
And then once they did that like gritty street urban style and you just let them loose, I started to really get enamored with them. I was like, oh man, I wonder how far the Usos would have gotten if we got that in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe they would be the guys that I would be looking at as, oh, these are forefront teams, not people following forefront teams, you know?
Okay.
But dude, the Usos, it's that old cliche I give whenever somebody wants to make an argument. Give me a bad Uso match.
Okay.
You know, they're not all like show stealers, but on the opposite end.
Sometimes there are show stealers.
Give me a bad one. They made a match of the year.
Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. So
versus the New Day. Yeah. Hector, you said you had one.
No, it was that.
It was that Usos.
It was the Usos.
Okay, well, I'm going to throw two more out there, but I think the argument is the same for both of these teams. Kaz and Daniels.
Oh, my God.
And the Motor City Machine Guns.
Oh, yes.
You know, I think the argument that you could make for both of those is the same. They were in TNA. They kept TNA afloat, kept TNA entertaining, especially towards the beginning of the decade. And holy shit, they put on amazing, great matches.
I just remember they had a X Division Tag Team title match versus Motor City Machine Guns with Generation Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, if we want to talk about the Bucks in TNA, we got to talk about those two. Because the shit that TNA tag teams and X Division were putting on at the end of the last decade and the decade before it, of the aughts, the 2000s, and the beginning of the 2010s, all the shit that the tag teams and the X Division were doing fucking great.
Here's where I'm gonna dissect one of your picks.
Please.
I would focus more on Alex Shelley in this tag team division because Sabin actually won a heavyweight title in TNA. So there was time where Alex Shelley was on his own.
That's true.
So there's at least 3 good years with Motor City. And then you're looking at the other end of this year. You have at least 2 or 3 good years with the Time Splitters with Kushida. And all that, Alex Shelley bridges all that together.
And you could say the exact same damn thing about Daniels.
No.
Yes. Daniels split off. You got an RH title.
Then you had Daniels and Styles.
Yeah.
In TNA.
Yeah.
No, but the cohesion's always been Daniels and Kaz because they were just Daniels and Kaz.
Yeah.
Then they were the Addiction in Ring of Honor.
Right. Yep.
You know, and then now again the bond
SCU
continues with SCU, but it's both of them together, not just Christopher Daniels. Christopher and AJ were a tag team, but how long was that? Like 9 months, 6 months? Like a few, just because the enemy of my enemy is my friend, so we're gonna team up and make some badass shit together because we know we can.
But as SCU, it's really more Kaz and Scorpio Sky. Daniels is more or less their mouthpiece.
You're saying that now because that's what you're seeing on AEW. But the last couple of years, the Ring of Honor, it was
like the general. It was like Walter for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. but those are still
there's
good
parallels.
moves.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's one that's gonna confuse me a little bit.
Oh shit. Different category?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hector.
Hector just frankly goes to his notes.
I know.
Oh shit, what's he gonna do now?
Let's go.
Female of the decade. Keep in mind, women's revolution hasn't been around all that long, but there's still been women's wrestling this whole decade.
Honestly, and I had her as, at the beginning you had said like top 5, but I had her as one of the, probably a 6th. For me, going back to TNA was Gail Kim.
Ooh. Okay.
Honestly, she was doing the whole thing way before the whole women's revolution got even started. Because I remember those matches of her and Awesome Kong.
That was gonna be the yang to your yin, because I was gonna say Awesome Kong because Gail Kim. Nothing against Gail Kim, awesome, and the only reason I would probably give the nudge to Gail Kim is because even now 2019, she's still wrestling. Even after she retired, even after she became TNA Hall of Famer, she's putting on fucking clinics with Taya Valkyrie, with fucking Tessa Blanchard. So she don't look like she lost a step.
But Kong has gotten more exposure than Gail Kim.
And that's where I was giving Kong like a puncher's chance.
Okay.
Because people were watching wrestling a lot for 2 reasons. 1, women's evolution, whatever you want to call it. 2, the popularity of mainstream, of wrestling in mainstream. So when people when there's like 15 million people in the country that have Netflix and they decide, hey, what's this Glow documentary? Who's that? She looks familiar. Oh, that's awesome. She's still. Oh, let me Google, let me YouTube, let me watch some of that. Oh, now she's in AEW. Oh, let me give me some of that. So that's where I'm trying to balance Awesome Kong and Gail Kim.
She had a blip in 2019, again,
and she had and
AEW, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she was MIA for about 2 years.
And that was personal reasons.
She had another stint in WWE around 2016, I'd say, or 2015.
A Rumble appearance, I think.
Yeah,
but that was it.
And then before that, it was all the TNA stuff. Gail Kim, she hasn't had that much exposure. Yes, she's been wrestling throughout the decade, but after her TNA, where can you actually find all these matches you're talking about with Gail Kim? I don't know. And that's what makes this decade really weird, because it's almost a tale of 2 decades when it comes to the women. So do you want to pick somebody for the first half of the decade? If you do, you have to go with Kong or Kim, right? But if you go to the last half of the decade, you have to go with Becky or Charlotte. One of those 2. And I am just gonna be selfish and give the nudge to Becky because I like Becky more than I like Charlotte. I understand that Charlotte's more decorated and has been more consistent because Charlotte's stuff in NXT started before Becky's stuff, and Becky's stuff in NXT was a little weak, for some times, where Charlotte was going strong the whole way through that entire 6 years through. Right, so I could see people making arguments for Charlotte being it, but I like Becky better.
I have to make an argument for somebody else, and I'm hoping that the food's low enough in my mouth that it doesn't come back to get me.
I think I know where you're going.
Again, the other thing about popularity and mainstream and popularity. This reminds me of the season that the Indianapolis Colts went 0-16, and I wanted to put Peyton Manning as their MVP because if he was there, they wouldn't have been 0-16, kind of as a derogatory kind of way. I'd have to say the Bella Twins.
Oh! What?
Now, I know. I warned you guys, but hear me out.
Okay.
More so Nikki. She was the main woman. Was championship. She was the one that had the gimmick with her sister as the twin running in. She was the one that got Total Divas on the people. They brought her back after they got rid of him because he wanted this show about wrestling women, and they wanted those 2 twins to be the head of it. And now,
and she did bridge the gap between that first half and that second half of the decade.
And most of the women's evolution is because of them, but in spite of them, because they were having matches or they were being booked to have 3-minute matches, and we wanted to see something different because we knew it existed, And again, we go to wrestling shows a lot.
Yeah.
We go to WWE shows. How many girls are there wearing Brie mode?
There was a lot.
You know,
The Fearless Nikki shit.
Yeah, I'm not. I warned y'all. This isn't a pick that I'm proud of, but if we're giving the devil their due,
being unbiased,
you have to look at least Nikki Bella. You have to look at her at her contribution to where wrestling now is accepted.
Okay.
By everybody.
Okay.
So
I agree. So what I thought you were going to make me puke with is, and this is actually less gag worthy. After that, I thought you were going to go with a Bailey or Sasha. Now, I think if they had been booked just as strong as Charlotte and Becky on the tail end, like 2017, 18, 19, as they were 2016, 15, then it'd be really hard to pick between any four of the horsewomen of WWE. But I think that right now, at the end of the semester, at the end of the decade, it's clear who's at the top of the class. It's Charlotte and it's Becky. It's not Sasha and Bailey. Again, looking at 1 year out of an entire 10-year span is somewhat unforgivable. But if you look at least all those five, it's like all four of those women were here. And then these two dropped off, and then the other two just stayed up,
went higher.
Charlotte went higher.
Charlotte, as you know, the NXT experiment, they wanted to not use her, not to bring on the Flair brand, just have her build on her own.
Yeah.
So she went to Raw, my daddy. But then Becky she broke out.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stick to my guns and say Nikki, man.
Okay. And
just a shock. What about you? You look like you just saw a ghost.
I'm gonna stick to my guns and say Becky. Now I want to throw one out there that you can't make a strong argument for because this is a decade argument, but Tessa?
That's tail end of the decade.
Very tail end.
Very tail end.
That might be an argument for the 2020s.
That's at least 2 years.
Yeah.
That's 2, maybe 3 years. That's pushing it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, we saw her fucking first match in 2017, or her second to first match in 2017. So yeah. Are we good with women, guys? Anything else?
I'm good.
All right.
Hector, Mel of the Year.
Chris Jericho.
Decade.
Chris Jericho.
All right. Good pick.
I'm in lockstep with you, bro. You start the decade as heavyweight champion WWE. Yep. You end the decade as heavyweight champion for AEW. You still have title runs with WWE. Hell, you even have the Intercontinental title in New Japan. Yeah.
There's a top 5 of them. Any of those is a great answer, but the one that sticks out the most is Jericho.
There's a good top 5 for runner-up.
Yeah.
The only person that I think would come close to Jericho would be AJ for the same thing. Yes. AJ in TNA, AJ in New Japan, AJ dabbling in Ring of Honor while he was in New Japan, and then AJ over here in WWE. Yeah. That's the only thing that comes close. But it's hard when you have the bookend here and the bookend here, and everything else is just as good. You know, it's hard to knock Jericho, man. It's hard.
I can see exactly why you would mention Jericho and AJ. The accolades, what they do in the ring, how well they're pushed, and why they're over.
They've made it everywhere. It's hard to pick a guy that's done it in one place when there's people that do it everywhere.
Right? And when we talk about our match of the years at the end of the year, we usually have several different criteria, right? Oh, what happened between the bells versus the storyline versus the actual impact, historical significance, historical impact. So I want to kind of compare your picks to what my pick is going to be. Your picks are in ring, what happens, and storyline. But I'm going to go with the historical impact guy. The historical impact, man of the decade, CM Punk. CM Punk. Let me. I'm going to defend myself. Okay. Beginning of the decade, all right, Indies, ROH, whatever coming up, get put into WWE towards the middle of the decade, had him over at WWE ECW so much that he got out cheered for DX and the Hardys, right? And they're like, well, you know what? We need to actually do something with this guy. Then we had Summer of Punk, and then the 2 or 3 years after Summer of Punk, and then when he left in the last portion of the decade, last half of the decade, it was like 2016, 2017.
Hell no, he left in 2013, Mania 30. Yeah. He was supposed to WrestleMania 30, and now we're at Mania 36. So
okay.
All right. So it's almost 7 years.
So I might be off.
That's why I might be off CM Punk.
I might be off on my estimation, but
stick your whole head out of that guillotine.
The point with that is, even towards the end of 2018, people are still chanting his name in the arenas. Even at the end of 2019, when he showed up on WWE TV, it was the talk of the wrestling industry. Oh my God, he's back, right? He wasn't like Edge, where Edge left and Edge came back, and now everybody's all about Edge. Yes, I'm all about Edge too, but it was like
give him that hot sauce.
Yeah. But it wasn't sustained. This entire time that he's been gone, people are still talking about this motherfucker. They're still talking about Punk. He's still a topic of subject and discussion all the way through the decade, all the way to the end of the decade. So if you want to say what defined this decade, even in his absence, CM Punk.
You want to go defend our pick?
You go.
Okay.
Please tear me apart, boys.
So the thing is, I get that. Pop culture wise, Punk is a good choice.
Okay.
But moving industries, putting spotlights on people that right now companies wouldn't even think of. Mm-hmm. Jericho, again, how many reiterations of Jericho have we gotten in the decade?
A lot.
And that guy has put them all over.
Mm-hmm.
One of the moments you all talk about was the, what's it called?
Festival of Friendship.
The Festival of Friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Other things, when Jericho left, the speculation started of what was he going to do?
Yeah.
When all those hints started coming around between him and Omega, what made New Japan get new subscribers if it wasn't the Jericho match?
You're right.
Yeah. Same thing. What legitimized AEW as a company if it wasn't the signing of Jericho?
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy that basically puts asses in seats.
So my argument for Punk was not an argument against Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you're saying about Jericho and everything you said previous to that, I totally 100% agree with, and I see why. Do you have something else you want to throw out about Jericho? Or can I go into my backup?
Give us what your pick should be.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
My backup from Punk, because I knew that this was going to be a tough sell, even though I think I have a good argument for the historical significance, is his counterpart. Somebody that kind of followed along the same path as Punk. Came into WWE beginning of the decade while being lauded in Ring of Honor and this and that, very hyped up, and then showed up, and it was like 1A, 1B. It was Punk, Daniel Bryan. Punk left. Daniel Bryan filled that spot that Punk left that was voided. And he did suffer injury, go out for, a few years. But then he came back within that same decade and was still over like Rover. And he was just as over as Punk. He was the Punk that wasn't Punk. So, like, if you want to go out and say, oh, man, I really wish Punk was back.
Vegan Punk.
You know who actually delivered on that shit? Daniel Bryan. He actually delivered on it. He left. Sure, people weren't chanting Daniel Bryan when he was gone, but they were chanting yes. They were chanting no. They still remembered him. And so when they came back, that good feeling that we got about Edge, that good fuzzy feeling we got about Edge that was blindsiding us, we got that about Daniel Bryan within the same decade. So D. Bryan was my backup in case I got, poo-pooed on for Punk.
Which you did.
Okay. Fine. Daniel Bryan.
Kenny Omega.
Okay.
Let's talk about
Defend
Kenny.
yourself.
Let's talk about Kenny Omega for a little bit.
All right.
This guy reminds me of Chris Jericho.
Yes.
Because Chris Jericho, in his resume, went from a cruiserweight in WCW, cruiserweight champion, putting badass matches with Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko, Psychosis, Eddie Guerrero. Then he bulked up a little bit. First undisputed champion. Started having badass matches with Steve Austin and The Rock and Kurt Angle. Kenny Omega was fucking in the indies as the video game guy, the Hadouken guy, the Mega Man, the Omega Man, you know? And then he goes into ring in the New Japan and he's killing fools in the freaking junior heavyweight division.
All because of a broom.
Yeah, and he became a cleaner. And then what happens? He stepped up his game a little bit. Took over Bullet Club. Now he started swimming with the big sharks. Tanahashi, Okada. And what happened? He wins the heavyweight championship in one of the, we'll get there in a little bit, but Omega won a heavyweight championship there, solidified his group. I dare argue that the Bullet Club was at its most popular with Kenny Omega.
I would agree.
And then he went back to his bromance. And the bromance took off. The bromance took off. And then another pillar in that, we need to solidify AEW. That's one of our pillars right there, Kenny Omega. And
now he's not a pillar in the sense that he's a champion, has a great record, and he's had all these title matches in AEW, but he's a pillar because he's part of the founders of these.
On the business end, he's a pillar of that company. Which, whenever you talk about, driving force, what is it that brought AEW up? What is it that got us to where we are now? Out of those four pillars, one of them is Kenny Omega. So there is an argument to be made for him.
You know who else there's an argument to be made for? Cody. There is an argument there. If you want to talk about the entire decade, he was wrestling this entire time. He was, in the group with Randy Orton and Ted DiBiase Jr.
Legacy.
That was last decade, though.
Yeah. No, that was within this
decade.
It
was WrestleMania 25. Yeah, it was last decade.
No, it wasn't.
It might be 26. Or 27. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, wait. He had WrestleMania 26. He had a handicap match against Randy.
Yeah, I remember one of the first matches that my then girlfriend, now wife, saw was an episode of SmackDown of Randy Orton versus Cody in a no-holds-barred match. And that was the one. That was the match that hooked her, to be honest. And I got with her in 2011. So that must have been 2011 or 2012, beginning of 2012. So, yeah, that was this decade, where he was putting on badass matches, breaking away from Cody and Legacy, and then away from Randy and Legacy, and then he started having his singles career in WWE, which, if you want to talk about of the decade, that was a little lackluster. I mean, he had Intercontinental title runs, he brought some prestige.
But that was when he was like Phantom of the Cody, and then the paper bag Cody Rhodes. God.
He was a solid ass mid-carder.
Yeah.
And then we had Starboy Cody, Stardust. But then when he left, went to Japan, hooked up with the Bullet Club, hooked up with the Elite. It's all the same story as the Bucks and as Kenny. Now he is running the show of a brand new fucking. Yeah, this is going to be our fucking card this is our race card that we're going to go to every time. AEW, you're starting AEW in this decade.
Not even that.
But he's part of that.
Not even that. You forgot that part in the middle where Cody was ROH heavyweight champion. He took it from freaking Christopher Daniels and NWA World Heavyweight Champion. There is an argument to be made for Cody.
And if you're going to be talking about Cody, you can't not mention his dad and his brother, because he's creating this whole family thing, right? But it's based off of the fact that he was over in NXT when not in NXT, but he's in Performance Center when his dad was in Performance Center, and his career crossed paths but never really did with his brother, but they always tried to. Last half of the fucking decade, it was trying to get him and Dustin together, and they finally got together, and what did it produce? A match of the year candidate for us. So That was some really good shit, really good storytelling. So he was relevant the entire decade.
They got actually a match of the year for last year.
Yeah.
Like Wrestling Observer.
I know you have one more, Hector.
I got 2 more at least.
Oh, okay.
Unless he jumps the gun on one.
I probably will, but I'm the Orientic guy.
Orientic?
Orientic?
Is that a word?
Why you made it?
Arigato gozaimasu.
So,
Ese pinche chinito.
All
right.
no.
Going too far.
So going to the promotion I usually come here and talk about, which is New Japan, I gotta put Okada in there.
Yes, sir. Okada.
What was the first time you ever saw Okada?
Okada versus Omega?
No. Okada versus
before
Tanahashi.
You're
Wrestle
right.
Kingdom 10.
Yeah.
Because I
which
saw
was their
Wrestle Kingdom
second
9
match?
without them. I saw Wrestle Kingdom 10 with
Was
them.
that like your first ever like, oh,
Yeah.
this is Okada, this
Yeah.
is who he is?
Yeah. That was my first impression of Okada, yeah. And he had just won the belt.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The first time I ever saw Okada was in TNA.
Okay.
Oh, it's Samoa
Okay.
Joe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kato.
Yep. Just seeing him, the way he was to the way he became now, that guy basically, Tanahashi lifted up New Japan after the Dark Era.
Mm-hmm.
Okada took the fucking torch and just ran with it, and nobody can still catch up to him.
Okay.
So just with that of him carrying the company by himself
Mm-hmm.
and making everybody there kind of more interactive with the stories and make it more meaningful with the matches, that guy deserves to be part of that.
Yes.
Part of that list.
I agree. If you want to talk about the popularity of New Japan in Japan, not necessarily the popularity of New Japan here, because the popularity of New Japan here is all based off of the Bullet Club. But the popularity of New Japan in Japan is largely due to Okada.
Not now. I think I don't use that argument.
Okay.
Okada here in the States. Go back in those HD net days when Ring of Honor would air shows. Remember Nakamura versus Strong from Survivor Series? We saw Nakamura versus Strong on Ring of Honor television.
Yeah.
The pops that Okada was getting on Ring of Honor television in the United States. G1 Supercard, Okada in Madison Square Garden.
I agree.
Getting the pop that he was getting. The shows that they've been having here in the States. G1 in Dallas.
But
Bruh,
that's
it's not an it's not a Japanese only thing now.
No, I'm not saying
now.
it's Japanese only. That's not my point. My point was in Japan, they like him first.
Yeah.
Instead of liking the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Over here, we like the Bullet Club first, and then that's
They
what
were the
hooked us
gateway.
onto Okada.
I agree.
So in Japan, he's the guy.
Yeah.
You know, so which is not a shameful thing to say. That's a really good thing for him, because they're the ones that help merge it together. It's like, you know, one side of the aisle is for the bride, one side of the aisle is for the groom. I'm here for the groom, but I like my new in-laws. That's kind of how I would think it's going, you know?
Well, you were there, all in.
Yeah.
What was the match that the biggest pop happened if it wasn't Marty versus Okada?
Yeah. At 205 and he broke his fingers.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Brock. You know I'm going.
I knew somebody was going to go there.
You know
I knew somebody was going to go there.
And you know my one, you know what's going to be carved on my tombstone, right?
What's that?
Quality over quantity.
Yeah.
He hasn't been put through the meat grinder like everyone else in WWE that to where you can pinpoint the stuff that he does that stands out. Suplex City. Mm-hmm. Who ever thought that Brock Lesnar would kill CILL John Cena the way Lesnar did? He ended the fucking streak.
Mm-hmm. And then he became the champ forever at the end of the decade. You never get the title off of him.
What year did he come back?
It was WrestleMania 29,
right?
With Triple H.
And that was 2000.
No, he came back 13? In 2008. 2012 No, he came back in 2011 SummerSlam for Triple H, and then the rematch at WrestleMania 29.
Oh, that was when we had the Kimura Fest.
And then,
Okay.
and the WrestleMania was a rematch, and then the rubber match was the next month at Extreme Rules in the Cage, and that's where Lesnar murdered him. And then
he went away for a little bit.
And
then
then
came back.
Then we got
Punk.
Then it was Punk
It
at
was Punk,
SummerSlam.
yeah.
Then after that, it was Suplex. It was WrestleMania with Taker, and then after that was Suplex City with Cena.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that,
so we're talking about like 2014 on is
2013.
Okay,
2013,
after Suplex City.
Well, 14.
So
14 was
the Lesnar,
14 was the streak in Suplex City.
The Lesnar we knew before Suplex City was kind of like, okay, whatever, Lesnar, other than the ending of the streak. But like the Lesnar we know now, the absentee father who's the champion Lesnar that we know now has been going on since 2013.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
2012. 2012.
Okay. Fucking hell.
And the reason we cared this time was because of him being former UFC champion.
Yeah.
Oh, he legitimized UFC. Now he's going to come back and bring realism to WWE. And he's blooding people, busting people open. He's killing people with suplexes. And he's still going.
He is one of the only guys in there, along with Styles, was saying that they held New Japan belt.
True.
And Nakamura.
Heavyweight. Oh wait, yeah, Nakamura
heavyweight,
yeah,
for a while, but yeah.
So if you want to go with the getting heat picks,
I got one more on my list, but if you're gonna say it, say it.
Roman Reigns.
Oh no,
that's my getting heat.
I'm gonna see your Roman, and I'm gonna raise you John Cena.
Well, the reason why I didn't say Cena is this, because started to peter out over this decade, and the person that picked up that mantle, so to speak, has been Roman.
Nope.
Roman's been
Cena has to come back part-time because Roman can't do it full-time.
No. It's okay.
Cena.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it wasn't. And you know what won me over on Cena? It
What's
was
that?
the second half of that decade when he took the U.S. title and made people, made Sami Zayn, made Kevin Owens, made Seth Rollins, to the point that he, as much as AJ was the heel, AJ earned Cena's respect, that AJ continued the U.S. title challenge, adding moves, coming back with promos. Dude, putting fucking Roman Reigns on the shelf with that damn promo.
Hell yeah.
You know? And to be honest, I don't even think Roman's ever recovered from that. So I'm John on my honorable mentions. Like, there's a definite number one, and then there's like a 5-man rumble to take the next 5 spots.
and
Cena's in it. Cena's definitely in it.
Okay.
Again, you talk about, oh man, wrestler of the year, CM Punk, because you never forget about him. How many times on this very show do you say, LOL, Cena wins?
Oh, plenty of times. Plenty of times. But not over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're talking about decades.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
All right, Abel, since you didn't have any notes, I'm going to put you to the test.
Ah, shit.
The decade. Decade. Your rivalry of the year.
Rivalry of the decade.
Rivalry of the decade. By the time I get it right, the show's going to be over.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal somebody's thunder here.
It's on my list.
I didn't see your list, but I know what's on it without saying it. Okada Tanahashi.
Yeah.
Rivalry? Yes. Because was it 3-4 times of that headline Wrestle Kingdom?
3
times? Fuck. I knew about those matches happening before I actually started watching New Japan because of Bullet Club. And even when I did start watching New Japan because of Bullet Club, it's like, hi, these guys are still fighting? You know, and remember when we had on Jaime Martinez? He came over here and broke it down for us. It's like Japanese John Cena versus Japanese Randy Orton. Yeah. That's all you got to know. This feud is going on this entire time, and it's just blowing up Japan because it's just that damn good of a feud. So I was like, oh, okay. And then when I finally dipped my toes in it, saw what was going on, I'm like, yeah. Now, there may not have been more matches at Wrestle Kingdom after that, but there's still enough storyline and care that New Japan puts into what happens in their promotion that they still reference it. There's nods. There's this and that. All that. So it's still kind of
team together.
There's still waves of that feud that like happens.
I'm not gonna fight that pick at all. Okay. That's your personal pick. I'm gonna respect it.
Well, I don't know if it's my personal. This is the pick, but you put me on the spot.
But when we're talking about significance,
okay.
I didn't sign up to New Japan because of Okada Tanahashi. I didn't go to G1 Climax because of Okada Tanahashi. I'm not trying to go to Japan for Okada Tanahashi. It's Okada Omega. Yeah. Where number 1 was up here, and then number 2 is up here, and then number 3 is up here, and then fucking number 4's up there. It broke Meltzer's rating scale.
Yeah.
It got the New Japan subscribers went from it to because of those guys.
Okay.
I respect friends like fucking Andrew Williams. That was my first injection of New Japan was Okada Tanahashi, but that didn't make me go spend money on them. Okay. It was Okada Omega that opened my eyes. It felt like I've been watching black and white WWE for the past life, and all of a sudden it's like HD.
Yeah.
It's like there's other worlds besides this big fat universe here. Let me go get my passport and travel them all.
Yeah.
You know, and now, and I say this in jest. I watched Impact, traveled a couple of shows, but because of the difference, because of the different aura, because of the different style, because of the different presence of New floodgates to me to where I'm watching Impact, I'm watching Lucha, I'm watching MLW, I'm watching a bunch of shit now that I would have never even dreamed if it wasn't for New Japan. And what got me into New Japan, what opened the wallet, what opened the brain, what opened the soul was Okada versus Omega. So for me personally, as a human being, that's my rivalry of the decade.
That
is Okada versus Omega. You probably throw out something completely different than that.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about 2 New Japan feuds.
You basically took them away. Those were on my list, but I'll throw you 2 curveballs there.
I've got a curveball you might not see coming, and I do have as my honorable mention Okada Tanahashi.
Okay,
so I respect it, but me personally,
honorable mentions for this because number 1 for me was Okada Tanahashi.
Yeah, obviously.
Honorable mentions like how you talked earlier, number 1, and then Rumble for the rest. 2 of those rivalries that I have on my list, Zayn and Owens back in the ROH.
Yes! That ladder war.
Yes.
Woo! And the fact that on that money, they went to NXT and they helped
continued it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
That's a really good pick.
And here's one of my dark horse. Awesome.
Ooh, you better not steal mine. Well, I stole his, so it's okay. Settle Miedo.
And Vampiro.
I
love that story. I love that story.
Oh my god. That's
give me goosebumps.
That is good.
Give me goosebumps.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That feud lasted all 3 seasons, didn't it? 2 seasons.
It was 2 seasons. It was 2. No, it lasted. It lasted 3 seasons, but that 3rd season was when it was revealed that they were now on the same black page.
Yeah.
But they were fighting each other, and now they came to the middle.
Yeah.
But those first, holy fuck, that hardcore match at the end of the first Ultimate Lucha.
Yeah.
When he went,
I love everything's getting love tonight, man.
Yeah.
Fuck. Lucha.
When Pentagon Jr. to the point,
the loser that could never win a match in the beginning of the season 1.
He won that and dropped that moniker and just went to Cero Miedo. Mm-hmm. Pentagon Cero Miedo.
And then Pentagon Dark.
Pentagon Dark.
Yeah.
Transition storyline, and then just the history of them of student versus teacher.
Yeah.
Student became the teacher. Mm-hmm. Then now they're pairs. They're in the same level.
Yeah.
All in 3 seasons.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that one up because we are talking about the decade, but that feud is only really like 2-3 years. So that gives me precedent to bring up the one I really want to bring up. One that's more of a sentimental, because when I picked that one, it's like, okay, well, what is really more of the decade? Yeah. But this one's really, truly my pick. I felt like I stole one of your picks, which I did. So this one's really more of an able pick. Ciampa Gargano.
Yeah, I'm on the list.
I Oh, the matches that came out of that were gold. They were brilliant. Not only were they hard hitting and they had a lot of moves and this and that, flashy, ooh, wow, check it out. But the way they built the spots in the match where it referenced the last match where they're like, hey, well, we did this match, so I'm going to try it again and we're going to build off of it. Or, hey, you did this to me last match, I'm going to counter it. Like, they knew with each match that went forward what the hell they were going to do, and they were able to transition in or out of it. Now, if the 2 years that feud went on, if you want to put a little bit more longevity to it, you could just say, well, look at the fact that they were a tag team together that was very, very successful for 2 years before, you know.
And you can tease that the dissension actually started in the Cruiserweight Classic when they faced off each other in the first round.
I'll take you a little bit before that. PWG, Psycho Killer.
And again, we don't know that, but there's other people that do. Exhibit A.
Psycho Killer versus Johnny Wrestling.
Yeah,
that was a rivalry. That was bringing. That's what caught my eye for PWG. Honestly,
okay,
them, and then just seeing Generation Me, which the beginning of the Young Bucks. There, Kenny Omega still showing up in there, doing the moves, and then he started getting a little bit more serious. So that was the rivalry that kind of brought me into that.
When would you say that started? What year was that?
I want to say
14 or 15.
It was like late 14.
Okay, that's enough of the decade for me.
It was
especially when you talk about rivalries. Rarely does a rivalry last the entire fucking decade, right?
I got a dark horse pick that might throw some people off their game.
Okay.
And I know y'all aren't going to agree with it when I say them. When I say it,
I like it already.
But I have to explain it.
Okay.
My honorable mention for rivalry of the decade. I can't believe I got that right. John Cena.
Oh, no, you're not.
Versus The Rock.
Oh, okay.
Because that match was never, ever meant to happen. John Cena, every chance he got when he was in front of a microphone outside of the WWE bubble, was talking smack about The Rock, trying to take his popularity from wrestling to better himself instead of giving back to the audience that gave to him and going back to wrestling. It's that rival, it's that feud that is giving way to guys like Riddle, to where if he talks enough shit about Brock's gonna want that match just to shut him the fuck up.
Yeah.
Or Matt Riddle talking shit to Goldberg, to where we get that little, hey, I met this guy in the back reading. You can't believe the conversation that happened. He goes, I'm not your bro. Verbatim, exactly what it was on the fucking video.
Yep.
But the fact that Riddle did all that just to get acknowledgement from Goldberg, guess who won out of that? Riddle.
Shooting yourself into a work,
brother. Shit that John Cena shot himself into a work. Who won out of that?
Brock.
We did.
Well,
because we got Cena versus The Rock, a match that we don't twice that we never even that was never even on anyone's mind. Well, Cena made that happen.
Who's the highest paid actor in Hollywood right now? The Rock. Again, I say Rock.
But
you see,
but wait, hold on a second.
He's coming up. That last decade. Not this decade.
Hold on a second. To that point.
Yeah.
Name me The Rock's movies before Fast 5 when he came back to WWE television.
Walking Tall and some other bullshit. I don't know.
Exactly. That's the point. The Rock as a movie star was good. Rock coming back to WWE when Fast 5 came out. Where is he now that he's been in WWE?
Well, now he's got that Jumanji money.
Doing that side hoop.
Yeah. When The Rock calls John Cena a big fat bowl of Fruity Pebbles, and 30 days later, WWE has a contract with Fruity Pebbles.
All right.
So, The Rock versus John Cena is my dark horse for rivalry of the decade.
Can I throw this?
Okay. Because I'll
go.
I'm on deck.
I'm waiting for somebody to say Cena Orton.
No. I'm on deck. Go ahead. You're
Daniel Bryan versus The Authority.
Ooh.
That rivalry was the one that solidified Daniel Bryan as a heavyweight and as this is the guy we should go for.
Yeah.
All right.
And
without Daniel Bryan, we don't have Kofi.
Yep.
And you're still seeing.
And we might not have Drew.
Without The Authority, we wouldn't have Daniel Bryan, nor would we have Seth freaking Rollins.
Yeah.
And JJ Security, but that's
Right.
All
All right.
You're on deck.
I'm on deck. Now I'm swinging the bat. That looks like Sasha versus Bailey. Oh shit! Yes, Sasha versus Bailey. I went there. It's still going on now because people are still saying, "Oh man, it was going to turn on the other, but they're best friends." But they were teasing this and that. This all started from the match that should have been the match of the year. I'm going back and saying we picked the wrong match of the year. It should have been match of the year. Bailey versus Sasha and Brooklyn. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn.
I'm still fighting you that the Iron Woman match was better.
Okay, yes. That's okay.
Because Sasha made Izzy cry.
Now we're talking about, you know what we're talking about? Women. 2 fucking matches there. That's which is better than the other, which should have been match of the year. It definitely should not have been Grave Consequences. So if we're talking 2 of the matches that should be match of the year of the same people, yes. Rivalry of the decade, Sasha versus Bailey.
And that was in a what? 2-year time span, or a year time span, basically.
Even that
was
it spilled over into the main roster.
About 6 months, but it did spill over to the main roster.
And there's still the tension there.
So going from that, then, if you're gonna make that point,
yes,
I'm gonna throw there Gail Kim and Awesome Kong.
Oh, going from the beginning of the decade back to TNA. Yeah. Yes.
They had the rivalry was more than 3 matches, and they all made you say, what the hell's going on in TNA?
Mm-hmm.
Knockouts got basically invented because of them.
And then when they started working with ODB, with Angelina Love, with Velvet Sky, we saw
beautiful
Madison.
People.
We started realizing, holy shit, who knew they had a division of women there?
Although,
Taylor Wilde.
Some of that shit started before 2010. We already knew that the knockouts were good, like fucking 8. Yeah. But the reason why I would argue my pick over yours, it only is because that match at Brooklyn, whether you go with that one or the Iron Woman, whatever, that feud is what I think in earnest sparked Vince to say, you know what, we are going to go with this women's revolution. It wasn't because of Give Divas a Chance. Give Divas a Chance was going to Vince and saying, Daddy, please, Daddy, can we have this? No, when Daddy finally decided... When Daddy finally decided,
some guys are good shit.
Was when he actually looked at it and said, "There might be on something. There might be made there." That's when he decided. He said, "You know what? I'll go ahead and give you what you want because I see it's going to benefit me." Which was that rivalry right there because it was just so fucking good.
Keep talking. What's your event of the decade?
Ooh, WrestleMania 30.
WrestleMania right 30. There for anybody that can't see it.
I think that there was one bad match on the card, which was Kane and
DX against the Shield.
The Shield, that just wasn't good. Everything else was decent, but there's 2 matches on the card. Well, maybe even a third, depending how you want to count it, that really fucking matter. So that being the 1.5, 2 matches with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan versus Triple H at the beginning of the show. Daniel Bryan versus Batista and Randy Orton at the end of the show. We thought that, God damn it, we've been fighting the WWE for a year, telling them we need to push this guy. He needs to be the main event. He needs to have a one-on-one match for the title. That's it. But instead, he's going to fight Triple H? Okay, fine. Well, at least we got the yes movement to say, well, if he wins that, he goes on to Batista and Randy Orton? Fuck, there's no way that we're going to get what we want because WWE hasn't been giving us what we want for the entire year. They've been cock-teasing us. They're never going to give it to us, and then they fucking gave it to us. But the hand that giveth is also the hand that taketh away. That brings me to the other match that has super historical importance for the entire fucking decade, which is Brock versus Taker. A 21-year streak was broken by Brock Lesnar.
You're not saying it right.
Brock Lesnar. Thank you. That's why Randy loves me, because I can do it. Yeah. And that is what started this whole love affair with Brock. That's what started this whole fucking thing with Brock. That's the reason why we have the Universal title. That's why we have Suplex City. That's
why we have
match,
MMA fighters actually in WWE now.
Yes, this match is so fucking significant for Brock's career. It's also pretty significant for Taker's career. It's maybe not famous, but more infamous because there's a lot of people, myself being a big proponent of it, saying that this should have been Undertaker's last match. It wasn't, but it should have been. You still get people going back and debating this. You still have people pointing to this match saying that this is the reason why Taker should have left. This is the beginning of what happened with Brock. This all is surrounded there. This very, very super important. WrestleMania 30 is the most important show of the decade.
Which Wrestle Kingdom are you voting?
Show of the decade. Believe it or not, Wrestle Kingdom is one of the ones that fighting for the Rumble.
Okay.
We talk about NXT. We talk about their takeovers.
Oh shit! I'm already getting erect.
What NXT takeover has set the bar that yet NXT hasn't been able to overcome it since they did it?
The first?
Nope.
No.
I have NXT takeover New Orleans as the best event.
New Orleans.
Wow.
Tell me the card. Remind me here. Give me some refreshers.
So
that's Ciampa Gargano for the title, right?
No.
Unsanctioned Gargano.
No. Yeah.
That started the whole thing.
Beginning of it, NXT, the triple threat title match, tag team, Undisputed Era, Strong and Pete Dunne, and the Authors of Pain. If I will recall,
that's where Strong went. Yeah, Strong turned on Dunne.
That's
right.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
The introduction of the North American title.
Yes.
Ladder match.
Gargano Ciampa.
Unsanctioned.
You had Ember Moon with the showing off of Shayna Baszler. That's when she became the champion.
Oh.
And then for me, the one that I fucking loved, Almas versus Black.
So
that's
top
good.
Down.
Okay, that's good. That's
okay.
Really good.
So consensus. My number one was WrestleMania 30.
Okay.
So I can't argue you.
Okay.
Much as I would like to, but I'm going to argue you because I have a takeover as I have two honorable mentions.
Ooh, this is good.
The first one, when you said what's the takeover that set the standard, it's Takeover Brooklyn 1 because I've grown up. I hate to say that word. I grew up watching Samoa Joe in the Impact Zone. I never saw Samoa Joe in front of 17,000 people. There's a lot of guys on that roster. Yeah. Once you went to Brooklyn, where was the NXT zone? Nah, all these other takeovers have been in big arenas around the even the takeover London. So after Takeover Brooklyn 1, that set the bar of that. This was WrestleMania X7 for NXT. After X7, everyone was in stadiums because that's the new standard.
Okay.
So for me,
that's a good argument.
Tyler Breeze versus Jushin Thunder Liger. I was thinking that was going to get some love from you when you were saying takeovers. That's Sasha Bailey, right? Sasha Bailey was in that first takeover. I'm trying to remember because it's been a while. And again, a lot of these takeovers, they rifle everything now. It's like every takeover, 9 times out of 10. Fuck. Yeah. So it's hard because the takeovers tend to blur together because every one of them, for the most part, is fucking phenomenal.
Was that Finn and Owens main event?
The ladder match.
No, ladder match was in Japan for the title.
I didn't think that. No, the ladder. No, it was a regular one-on-one match in Japan. The rematch was the ladder. Yeah, it was Finn and Owens. Yeah.
Can I make another argument for another honorable mention?
Go.
This is going to be very similar to my CM Punk argument.
Oh no.
Because it just means more.
Bash at the beach.
No.
SummerSlam.
No. All In.
That's the other one on my honorable mentions.
The reason why I would say that this is like a CM Punk type of argument is because it's more about the significance.
It's rebellious.
Well, yeah. But it's the significance of it. It's the fact that more of the story about it doesn't come out of what actually happened in the matches. It's more about the fact that they sold out their first event before they even became a promotion when they didn't think that they could do it. This was the testing to see if they could actually make All Elite Wrestling. All In was like, let's see if we can actually fucking do this. Oh, the guys from Bullet Club are going to put on their own pay-per-view. That's fucking stupid.
No.
What did they do? They sold it out just like that. Let's go all out. Make another one. Okay, let's see if we could really. All In was the very, very first of all that shit.
And it was all because of Meltzer. These guys can't sell out their own arena.
Yeah.
Oh, bet 30 minutes later, we got a whole new fucking rival out of it. Yeah.
And now we have a brand new promotion because of it. Because of that. Yeah. I don't remember the fucking matches. I remember thinking
Omega versus Penta, first time ever. Nick Aldis lost. That's when Cody won the heavyweight title for the first time, and everybody cried. Six-man tag main event with Kota Ibushi, Rey Mysterio, and Bandito against the Young Bucks and somebody else.
Ibushi, Bucks, Bandito.
Ibushi and Bucks against Bandito, Rey, and
Phoenix.
And Phoenix. Yeah. There's a lot of good stuff on the card.
There was good stuff on the card, but not necessarily significant stuff on the card.
Okada, Skrull.
Yeah.
It was memorable stuff. I remember it.
No, it was good. I mean, like what I mean is that like this wasn't stuff that was having far-reaching effects. Like it was just like, hey, we have this good wrestler and that good wrestler. Let's put them on the card together. So it wasn't like significant as far as the matches go. But the fact that the show itself was significant, the fact that it happened.
Okay.
You got any more? I'm out.
Since you pointed me out for Wrestle Kingdoms. Wrestle Kingdom 10.
Okay.
Wrestle Kingdom 10, is that
open weight Shibata Ibushi Ishii for the never open weight title. Hard hitting match, and we all seen now what Ishii could do.
Yeah.
And Shibata. How far he'll go, obviously.
Yeah.
Because now it's point of no return.
Junior tag. Red Dragon, Matt Sydal, Ricochet, Roppongi Vice, Young Bucks.
Fuck. Was that Kenny Omega versus Kushida for the junior?
Yep.
Whoo! That I remember vividly because the commentary put over that Omega had shaved his arms the week before so that he could use his stubble as a weapon against fucking Kushida's face. There's still shit like that I remember from that.
And here's the thing. That was, I believe, the day that New Japan lost Styles and
Nakamura. Styles and Nakamura,
which was for the Intercontinental title.
And that next day, Omega took over the Bullet Club at New Year's Dash. I remember.
Going back to one of your rivalries of the decade,
Okada Tanahashi.
You're right. Can
I? That brought back memories.
I know that this is.
I still go back and watch that wrestle.
Yeah,
nice. I know that this is probably not like at the top of the list or even in that little 5 rumble, but it could compete for maybe number 6 or something. Ultima Lucha.
The first one.
See, Ultima Lucha, like, get the concept of this. You had a weekly episodic kind of wrestling show, kind of TV show, building up to a season finale, and the season finale is a pay-per-view. It's not a pay-per-view because it's on live TV. It's just your season finale. What? And it was badass. Ultima Lucha, the first one. Ultima Lucha 2, which was 2 episodes. Ultima Lucha 3 was what, 3?
Ultima 3 was 4 episodes.
4 episodes, that's right.
And Lucha Cuatro was just 3, I think.
Something like that, yeah. But the first Ultima Lucha, we're like, what the fuck is going on here? And then you had the big cliffhanger at the end, like, what just happened? And then all the like little vignettes of like where everybody is going for the summer, kind of like bullshit. It's like, what the fuck did I just watch? What is Lucha Underground? And then just hooked us.
And when is it coming back?
It hooked us.
It's a wrestling soap opera.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yes. So, I mean, I think I just kind of threw that out there because I really felt like we haven't shown Lucha Underground enough love on this program tonight. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of want to throw that out there.
One of the other ones that I had was Dominion 2018.
Okay.
Omega Okada 3
when he won it, and that was the night also that Jericho became Intercontinental Champion.
Oh, he beat Naito.
Yep.
You know what? I know I'm rewinding way far back here, But somebody else that I would like to throw in, maybe male superstar of the year, Prince Puma / Ricochet. No.
You're reaching, bro.
I'm reaching.
You're reaching.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because he was a star of that fucking show.
I give you a little bit there.
A little bit.
No,
just because he brought the attention of what are they doing with the Super Juniors in New Japan?
Oh, okay.
With the Oscar match.
All right, thank you. You got my back.
No, not really.
You don't like fucking
That's probably
Prince
what
Puma?
got him signed.
He's curtain jerking. Yeah.
That's probably what got him
He wasn't
signed.
jerking. He was inserting. That's what he was doing.
When you think about pro wrestling in 2010s, give me a most meaningful moment.
Meaningful?
Yeah. Or most impactful moment.
That's not necessarily something that happened on the telly. Because if it's something that not necessarily happened on the telly, I'm going to go back to CM Punk walking out and then doing the Colt Cabana show. And that just rocked the wrestling world.
You see that as a positive? Meaningful?
No.
Impactful?
Impactful.
Well, I'm saying positive.
It's impactful.
What do you mean, like segments?
So here's
like...
here's mine. So my most meaningful thing in professional wrestling from the 2010s was the creation of the network. Look at everything that's going on now. Everybody, if you're a legitimate wrestling company, you have some kind of backlog that people can pay money to watch at any time. It's changed the entire business.
TNA has
we didn't have to go meet up at a Brewings to spend $65. We didn't have to pitch in at somebody else's houses. $10, and it's wherever I want it, whenever I want it. The network, WWE Network, is my leader for most meaningful or impactful moment. In a positive of professional wrestling.
Well, in a negative, I say CM Punk leaving.
We'll get there.
It's impactful.
We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. Positives.
I don't know. I wasn't ready for that because
that's not in his notes.
With wrestling, I was thinking about because I'm thinking you're looking at the segments that define the decade, or
no, that's something separate.
Okay, I need to.
Or should I just start going off?
Go on,
honorable mentions. Women's Revolution.
Okay.
Look where we're at now.
Yes.
5 years ago, 7 years ago, people aren't paying money to watch women's wrestling.
Right.
Even Shimmer was a huge niche.
Yeah.
And now with the movement of Women's Revolution, look where we're at now. We got women main eventing WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. You know, we got a TV show that's getting new female viewers on because it's based on women's wrestling, whether it's on E! Network or fucking Glow. You know, it's the evolution of women. And then the also thing I got more than anything, the rise of alternatives. Because right now this feels like this feels like
the resurgence of the territories.
To an extent, I was thinking more of along the lines of
the variety
if the 90s got injected with steroids. Because in the 90s, you had WWE, you had WCW, and if you wanted something out there, you got ECW. Look what the fuck we got right now. Impact, Lucha, Ring of Honor, even in its own company, NXT is better than its other crap.
Yeah.
Yep. You know?
And the other crap is a bigger pile than what it was before.
So there's New Japan, all that stuff. AEW,
MLW,
and
all the indies.
Yeah, everything. So this feels like a renaissance that probably my grandfather would have appreciated if he was still around and being a wrestling fan, because he would know about freaking the WCCW and AWA and freaking Memphis and WWW.
We're in Houston, Paul Bosch. God damn it.
You know?
Mentioning fucking Dallas before you mentioned Houston. What the fuck?
How dare you?
God! In that train of thought.
Yes.
Is there any blanks y'all want to fill in?
I mean, you talk about the renaissance of everything else, but I think this is a part of that renaissance of everything else. Of course, AEW, right? Mm-hmm. I think that kind of deserves a little bit more of a spotlight than just lumping that all in with everybody else, just because of they're the ones that have the best chance of actually making waves and doing something.
I think the reason I would stick AEW out more is because of what it actually did. Because when you go back in wrestling history, Ted Turner loved wrestling. He made his networks on wrestling. The shows that came before and after his wrestling shows became such big hits that he was able to make his own.
Okay.
And then AOL, Time Warner, they're like, fuck wrestling. 19 years later, AEW and Time Warner and AOL are like, you know what?
We
Get
need
back
some of
into
that.
We need some of that.
We'll give you a trial period.
So
Oh, wait, you're doing this? 2
So
more years.
it's easy to just look at the AEW side of that coin, but
Oh.
I would have never thought that it would have made, of all people, the Grinch turn into like the biggest Christmas person, and that's the equivalent of
got his
of
wrestling heart back.
Yeah.
All right.
They grew 3 sizes that day
This-
when it beat NXT in the ratings.
This-
The hologram of Ted Turner is smiling. He's dead, right?
Right. He is dead.
Okay.
So what I'm about to mention is kind of related to all this. If it wasn't for this, this shit wouldn't have happened.
Go.
All the stuff you talked about. The rise of independent t-shirt making. So pro wrestling tees and shit like that. If that wasn't around, guys like Colt Cabana, guys like Kenny Omega, people that are in the indies, Marty Scurll, whatever, whoever you want to bring up, even
Bucks.
the Bucks.
The Bucks.
They were the ones that cashed it.
Yeah.
Oh,
They-
we can multiply this. We
made-
can spread this out.
They made so much fucking money off of their t-shirt sales that weren't WWEshop.com because they were on the indies that they were able to make enough money to make a fucking AEW or get enough money to where they could be like Joey Ryan and be like, you know what, WWE, I don't like your creative. I'm making enough money on the indies. Nah, I'm good, fam. And I'm just gonna stay out on the
Ibushi
indies.
said no 4 times to WWE.
Yeah.
Naito 6?
Yeah. So the t-shirt company, printing company
Yeah.
on behalf of wrestler business has helped that front of it, helped that renaissance of letting there be variety of other wrestling out there so much because that's actual dollars in pockets, So yeah.
So going into that,
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing for me is
Fucking water.
the partnerships that are going on now.
How so? The partnerships
Think of-
between other promotions?
Yes.
Okay.
Because WWE didn't want to play ball for so many years that the other companies were like, fuck it. If you don't want to play ball, I'll go ask this company, which they did. New Japan had a partnership with TNA in the beginning.
Yeah.
When I got to see Nakamura, Tanahashi, Okada, then they dropped that partnership, went to Ring of Honor. That's when we started seeing Red Dragon over there.
Yes.
Worlds collide.
All those partnerships. Then you had
NWA followed suit.
Yeah. The only
That's
one-
how we got to see Liger live in person here in Houston.
And it even got to the point that for one time, well, actually twice, WWE even tried it.
Yeah.
They
brought Liger to NXT.
They got Liger to NXT, and they literally made a trade with TNA so that Ric
Christian.
Flair can be in the Hall of Fame with
That's
the 4
right.
Horsemen. And in turn, Slammiversary 12, that was also in Dallas, Christian came out to debut the top moment in Impact history.
Yeah.
It's
And
partnerships, yeah.
Yeah, the partnerships there. Because the outside of WWE, they started bringing up their own the titles. Like right now in Wrestle King, well, I haven't actually seen it done recently, but Wrestle Kingdoms, they used to see the ROH heavyweight title being defended there in the WrestleMania in Japan. Same thing with the British heavyweight title.
Rev Pro, yeah.
Rev Pro. So I have that as
That's a good call out. I have another one. now that you got our juices flowing here. How about the invention of the Performance Center?
Oh,
Like this is just so big that you almost don't see it.
a Triple H creation.
Yeah, the Performance Center / NXT, what it is, not the game show, right? Like WWE has a territory that's developmental, but is it really just another territory, another school like Booker T's ROW or the stuff up in Minnesota or like whatever?
or
Like
Evolve.
yeah, like is it like
Partnership,
that?
WWE and Evolve.
Is it like that? Maybe you could say all of these are preparatory schools or junior colleges, but the NXT,
The Harvard,
that's
the Yale.
Harvard. That's a big time university.
They know you're ready to go when you go to NXT.
Not only are they training wrestlers, but they're also training commentators, video production assistants, producers, all kinds of stuff, road agents.
Yep.
You go there to do that. I mean, and we know that's true because look at our friend Alex Del Barrio. You know, he went over there just for ring announcing and commentating, and he got on NXT for a couple of years, came back, and I got to chit chat with him a little. He's the one who gave me a bunch of pointers on how to do commentary for DZW and ring announcing for DZW. So that has effects not just for wrestling or wrestlers, but for all of the aspects of the personnel that's in wrestling
and beyond.
Okay.
Because when you have outside fringe groups noticing that things are getting done in NXT, you have boxers, you have MMA fighters, you have football players. They're not going there to learn how to wrestle. They're going there so that they can learn something that'll help them in boxing, in mixed martial arts, in football, because they went to the performance center and learned that, because they went and trained with wrestlers that used to be in MMA, or wrestlers that went to high school, to college and played college ball, or went with wrestlers that have backgrounds in golden gloves in boxing. So that's
or
become
just
like
boxers learning how to take pain.
Yeah.
You take a bump, it's a lot different than getting punched in the face,
Yeah.
but you start learning that there's different kinds of pain.
Yeah.
So going after that, I
Oh,
might
shit.
just take the carpet right under that.
Ooh, okay.
Because as much as we want to say the creation of the performance center, originally New Japan had that years
in
ago.
the dojo.
The dojo.
Yeah.
Okay.
They created their own stars.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's obviously, if you put it into perspective, then you have to say Vince probably went like, well, they're doing their own stars. You know what? Triple H.
What if we had a machine that we could make our own?
Triple H has been bugging me for this. You know what? They're doing it. Why can't? I'll
Maybe he's
fucking
right.
pull the trigger.
Maybe he's right. Yeah.
What the dojo? When was that created?
That was
Way old school,
okay.
bro.
Is that same
That's
as?
like 80s.
Oh, so that even predates
That's
the power
that's
plant,
Inoki,
right?
That's Sakuraba.
Okay.
That's Giant Baba. That's
Now, okay,
that's
but was that
people.
just for wrestlers, or is that also like
that was
because-
for wrestlers.
okay? Because
Only.
the thing that sets apart the performance center is that it's at Full Sail and they're actually training fucking students on how to hold a camera,
Yeah.
and do the production. Is what
that's
WWE excels at,
That's the Full Sail aspect of that.
right? But it's still
From the
an
performance
aspect of
sense.
it. It's still an aspect of it.
Yeah.
But again, that's really good too. But I was gonna think that maybe the power plant was before that. It sounds like the power plant was after that, right?
Yeah, it was way after that.
Okay.
Yeah. So you led the way with your disappointment.
Oh yes.
Hit with one.
Ooh, I have to go back on the list for that one.
Oh,
Give me some of your biggest regrets from the year of wrestling.
decade.
Decade of wrestling.
You know what? I regret not having another bottle of water.
The prospective fall of TNA.
Let's see if I can get past you.
Hey, Papa.
The perceptive fall of TNA.
Yes. The way that, for me, I started seeing TNA back when it was an FS1 around 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I would actually record those and VCR videotape, so I could watch them later.
Oh man, you couldn't get me one?
Did you want
I'm
one?
just kidding. I'll live.
All right.
So
You're closer, bitch.
Seeing them go up to the level as high as I'm seeing great matches with Daniels, Styles, Samoa Joe building on top of what he already was known in ROH.
Mm-hmm. Machine Guns, Beer Money, Kazarian and Daniels in the tag division.
We got
Suicide.
the beginning of Suicide for me. That's
the Hogan, the
when
Bischoff,
Bischoff came in and just plummeted.
What year was that? 2011?
I think so.
Was it? Because that might have been last decade. Maybe 2009?
No, because they did the whole Monday Night War thing, which it only lasted like about 2 or 3 weeks, and then they just go back to whatever day.
My biggest regret in wrestling might have happened before the decade, but it continued through this decade. And it's been probably one of the biggest hindrances that WWE has been facing as far as crowd reaction to. And it is gimmick pay-per-views. God, fuck. it completely watered down the meaning of certain things. Like you knew a motherfucker hated another motherfucker when their last match had to be in Hell in a Cell, not because oh man, it's October. You know what that means, man? Let's fuck some people up. Yeah. Gimmick pay-per-views, man. It killed a lot of booking, a lot of momentum, and they left a lot of money on the table by going that route.
Honestly, I wish they would have just kept Money in the Bank at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I'll do you one further on that. The amount of pay-per-views WWE increased to per year. There was 1 year where they had fucking 16?
17.
Yeah.
That was like twice every.
And you could technically say that now if you're counting takeovers, because we have at least 5 takeovers a year on top of 12 pay-per-views 12 pay-per-views a year. And now we're doing Super Showdown.
There you go.
2 in Saudi, and then you're doing another one either in Australia or in London or something like that. So that was the year where we had the 2 Saudi shows and we had Australia. Plus
2018?
Yeah,
2018. Yeah.
Which, okay, and you mentioned it, that could be another disappointment too. The Saudi shows. A lot of people are upset over that shit.
But that was after the whole.
That was after Muskogee.
Yeah.
That was after Muskogee. Before, everybody's making money in Saudi.
Like, oh, shit.
But no, the first one ever was like, you couldn't have been any more unoriginal.
But everybody was happy because they brought Pyro back.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah.
Oh, disappointment, the absence of Pyro?
Yes.
Yeah, Pyro went away.
I guess I got one more, and this is going way back.
All right.
The destruction of the Nexus.
Ooh! And the creation of the core.
Honestly, the whole group of guys, including Brian, was in it.
Mm-hmm.
They had so much potential.
The firing of Brian, because of the neck choke thing.
They had everything there. You had Tarver the boxer, you had Skip Sheffield the muscle, you had Wade Barrett the leader,
Husky Harris.
No, that's season 2.
Okay.
You had Tarver, Sheffield, Daniel Bryan, Wade Barrett. You had Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel. There's 2 more. Because there were 8 guys, but it became 7 after Brian left.
Who's the one with the afro?
Darren Young.
Darren Young. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That had everything. That group had a variety of everything.
And that would have been a powerful faction there.
What fucked that up was the TLC match with Barrett and Cena. Barrett should have won that.
But that was towards like the tail end when it would dwindle down.
Barrett should have beat, and Cena was the guest referee. The Summer Survivor Series before that. That's when you started seeing, that's how far they're gonna take this. Oh, we fucked up, so let's split off the brand and do NWO Wolfpack. And then we'll refill NWO Black and White again. Oh wait, that didn't work. Now we gotta fix NWO Black and White again, and we'll inject it with some CM Punk and see how far that goes. Yeah, no. God, Nexus, fuck. You want to talk about a faction that should have been a faction of the decade if it was around long enough? Fucking Nexus.
Yeah.
God damn. That's 2011.
Yep.
Yeah. Was that?
Yep. I was still married then when I went to Dallas.
Right.
2012 was what? Money in the Bank with Cena and Punk? Yeah, that was a year before.
Okay. How about not Daniel Bryan being in those Royal Rumbles?
Ooh.
Because of that, that's why everybody hates Roman.
And they actually booed Rey Mysterio.
No, that's why people hated Batista.
Yes.
The first Rumble. We got Roman because of the knee-jerk reaction of, holy crap, listen to how over Roman is. No.
Yeah.
Roman wasn't that over. We were that anti-Batista. Yeah. Why were we anti-Batista? We wanted Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
So you got, I think, 2 more left, right?
When you think of wrestling,
here we go.
Segments, promos, sections of television, 5 segments. that describe that make up your 2010s? When you think about the last 10 years of wrestling, the first one is obvious. You've been sucking his dick for the last 45 minutes. So please entail the pipe bomb.
The pipe bomb. That is the thing that got Punk over. In fact, like, you could just say the word the pipe bomb and you know what the fuck you're talking about. It was a shoot promo that may have been worked but not worked at all. That was pretty much a shoot that CM Punk just did out of nowhere. It literally cut off his mic. And then we had that style of promo happen a whole lot of times afterwards, because you had AJ Lee's pipe bomb, and then you had the Miz's pipe bomb on Talking Smack, and now everybody wants to have a pipe bomb, have a no fucks given type of promo. It was a promo that changed the way you do promos.
Thanks to that pipe bomb, it opened audiences of, wait, he mentioned ROH.
Yeah, who's Colt Cabana?
What are you talking about? That taking the title and defending it in New Japan?
Yeah. That doesn't exist.
Yes, outside the universe, it does not exist.
Yeah.
Now it brought it into continuity.
Now it's like, oh my God, AJ Styles is in the Rumble. He held the same belt in Japan that Brock Lesnar held in Japan.
Kurt Angle.
Him mentioning, I'm a Paul Heyman guy, is the whole reason why now we have Brock. But like that's the reason why Heyman got the job to come back, and now he's representing Brock, and you hear every week, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm gonna go left field on this one.
Please.
Way left field.
What year?
I want to say 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. That wasn't too helpful.
The Broken Saga.
He just came. I'm sure Randy is very familiar with that.
I am gonna scoot this way, please.
Water, give me more water.
Tell me you were not fucking watching every segment from Matt Hardy just going, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah.
What is this? But everybody was so entertained of brother versus brother. Then brother loses, becomes crazy, gets another alter ego, beats younger brother, makes him crazy, and guess what? You're all in my universe. Brought my wife, my kid, and my father-in-law.
Nice.
And my kid actually won a match.
You did? Little
King
Maxwell is undefeated.
Yes. But honestly, that changed the perspective, some of the perspectives of wrestling. After.
Yeah, it did, because now you could do viral videos as promos to get over whatever you want to get over. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a match. It can just be you acting crazy.
With that, I'm starting my decade in 2010.
Ooh, going early.
Before this, I've always been a fan of this guy. But when you have the opportunity, when the red light goes on and you only have that opportunity to get people's attention, you have to kidnap it almost so that they remember who you are, so that they remember even until they're gone. And the first thing that pops to my mind in 2010 was Jay Lethal's impression of Ric Flair.
Woo!
And Ric Flair calling him out on it. And the part where Jay White goes, I'm gonna frame this moment and hang it on my wall, because with a tear in my mom's eye, she knows that I've made it. Because I'm looking at my arms, because I'm in the ring with Nature Boy fucking Ric fucking Flair.
Yeah.
And Jay Lethal stopped, gone from that point. And from there, Black Machismo. From there, that heel Ric Flair persona is what got him the Ring of Honor title. And that's what he started doing. Was basically Ric Flair NWA mid-'80s.
Yeah.
And that all started 2010 on Impact. that first promo, and then the next one. That's my line. That's my line. That's my line. Oh fuck! Yeah,
That was hilarious.
There you go.
It looked like the four horsemen win
the ring, took a big dump, and out came y'all. You're gonna learn that getting on is a whole lot easier than getting off. Wow! Wow! That's my line.
Oh man, I
He
forgot about that.
he's free balling, so if we're playing tennis. Hit me with another one.
I forgot about that.
Hit me with another one. I pipe bombs on my list too, so he got one.
The streak. That moment of me, I was a big, well, I still kind of am, big fan of the Undertaker. But when I saw that happen, I was like, and I had the feeling like, I remember being in the room where I was watching it, and I even told my cousin, is like, Undertaker's gonna lose here. It's like, nah, this is the streak. Or like, he's gonna lose. I was like, why did he say that? Like, honestly, after Brock, who the hell could beat up The Undertaker? He's somebody from back then who can beat him up. Then when it happened, it's like, I felt disappointed because I actually guessed it right. And the other thing is like, fuck, that's it. Nobody from the Attitude Era left.
I had deja vu, man, because I remember back in the day, sitting at sister-in-law or brother-in-law's house watching Pacquiao versus Juan Manuel Marquez, and I was telling everybody in that room, was like, man, Pacquiao's taking this for granted. Marquez gonna knock this motherfucker out when he least expected. The end of that 6th round with 9 seconds to go, blop, and there was Simba crying on top of him. So when I'm at the Superdome with my bro from another Mo, Scott, and my girlfriend at the time, Lisa, and Brock Lesnar's F5ing the fuck out of Taker, I'm thinking, I don't think this is going to last any long. I think Taker's about to lose. And before that sentence even finished, 1, 2, 3, and we're all like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Even we saw it coming and we still didn't believe it happened.
You heard the change of the crowd going.
You heard everybody go,
silent, and then it just came back.
Yeah. That was amazing. Okay, I'm gonna break up the tennis match for a second.
Go.
I have one.
CM Punk's pipe bomb was 2011.
Thank you. Here's one from a little bit later in the decade. It's a very, very short promo. Enjoy infamy, Velveteen Dream.
That was a good one.
What came first, the chicken or the egg? My honorable mention. I know you have a heart, Alistair. It's just in the wrong place. That promo that built up to that match where Alistair kicks the mic out of his hand and then sits down, and then Velveteen's like, and the reason I remember that is because there are these 2 girls that are completely into the show, and when they saw Velveteen get that close, they're jumping. You can see right behind Alistair Black, these girls are like, what the? They're like marking the fuck out. That's my inner me right there in the background. So I know that I'm not the only one that feels. Everybody had that same feeling, and that's on my list. That's 2018.
Yeah.
No, 17. That was 2017. 17.
I came up with one more. Do y'all want to get back to the tennis match and I'll interrupt again, or do you want me to shoot mine?
I'll go.
Okay, go ahead.
That one. Going back to that event,
WrestleMania,
the Daniel Bryan moment. Finally, the changing of the guard.
I'll see that, and I'll raise you Raw from 2014, the end of 2014.
What happened there?
That year, Bryan wins the title. That same week, his dad died. And he stayed in the company because he didn't want to leave wrestling. Then he fucked up his neck, and he didn't know what he was going to do. So he had an announcement to make. Is he going to retire? No. As soon as he said no, I hadn't heard a reaction like that since when Steve Austin saved Mankind and Mankind won the title. That pop when Daniel Bryan said no because everybody's about to cry. We've already had the Edge thing. We've already had the Christian thing. We've already had wrestlers retire in the ring that way. When Daniel Bryan said no, everybody was like, oh my God. And he announced himself in the Royal Rumble. I was in tears before he said that because I was like, man, I'm not ready. He finally got his moment and he's about to leave us. And when he faked me out, I was like, you son of a bitch.
I got one. I'm not sure if it happened before or after. Mark Henry.
Damn it, you stole mine. Mark Henry.
2015.
It was after, right? I think Mark Henry upped that one.
My heart don't pump Kool-Aid.
Yeah. In a salmon jacket. In a salmon jacket.
Which now when you ever go to a WrestleMania, they have it there.
They have the fucking jacket. Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. I was going to mention that because that was really good. Since you invoked it, I have to bring it up. You said it in passing, just ran right by it like nothing happened.
Edge.
Yes. You want to talk about the times that wrestling has made you cry? When Eddie died. When you found, before we figured out that it was a double murder suicide with Benoit, when everybody was on Raw just saying, hey, we learned that, you know, he passed away. That made you cry. But then also Edge. That was the next one that just had everybody bawling, your boy included.
Out of nowhere. He won the title the night before.
At Mania, defended the title. It was him and Del Rio, right?
Yeah.
And then he had to come out the next night on Raw and say, sorry, I got to go. Ooh, man, that was some heart-wrenching shit, dude. That was probably the first time in the decade that you had a promo that just made people just fucking cry, you know? And now, beginning of this decade, you have a moment with Edge where he comes back that made people fucking cry.
2017 on Raw, something happened that I would have never, ever thought would have happened.
What's that?
I felt sympathy for Paul Heyman. When Samoa Joe becomes #1 contender and he is not afraid of Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. You want Brock? You got Brock. And then Joe pushes him in the corner. You know, I'm very disappointed that your client chose not to come out here and participate with me man to man, face to face. It shows me what kind of man he really is. So something's about to happen to you, and I want you to take notes, and I want you to remember this for the rest of your life. I'm about to choke you out. You're going to feel my arm around your throat, and it's going to tighten, and your vision's going to go to black. And I want you to remember this in vivid detail, and I want you to tell your client, because this is what's going to happen to him. I'm just an advocate. I understand, Paulie, but this is what's about to happen. And then it fucking happened.
Yes.
And the cherry on top, not only did it make people feel sympathy for Paul Heyman, people cheered for Brock. They were chanting for him. We want Brock. And what was the cherry on top? Joe picked up the mic and said, so do I.
Oh, man.
Zach, so brother.
So good.
Going to that segment, if I remember right, wasn't the camera panned so close to them that the microphone from the
you
camera?
Weren't hearing the micro. You weren't hearing from the mic. You were hearing from the camera.
Yeah.
So people in the audience didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Nobody in the audience heard it. It was just people at home.
Yeah.
And that brought you back to the old school era of Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yes.
You talk low, people will listen.
Yeah.
That segment had me close to TV like, what the fuck is Samoa Joe going to do?
It was the same angle. It was the same feud. I think it was either the next week or something like that, where you had Brock on one side of the arena via satellite. You had Joe on the other side of the arena via satellite. And Joe was like, you know what? Fuck this. And he got up, walked around the arena with security and everybody like, no, man, don't do it. And he's like, fuck it. Brock! You want to talk about talking low so that people will listen? He threw that shit out the window that week. He was like, motherfucker, where are you? I'm going to find you, bitch. That was great.
Oh, man. That rivalry, that
short-lived, but
that reminds me of Velveteen Alistair. In that 5 or 6 weeks, you got everything you needed. instead of drawing it out for 3 shows or 9 months. That's all you needed. That was it. But god damn. You got any more?
I think that's
I don't know if this will constitute as a promo, but every single time Dario Cueto came out of his office and said,
Hold on. Hold on.
And then ring the bell.
I guess if we're gonna go back to the we're gonna keep on going with the segment. I have to go back to the Talking Smack segment.
With the Miz?
Miz?
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
He brought the reality of it.
And that turned around the opinion of everybody on the Miz. Everybody hated the Miz. No, I that hate is too strong a word. Everybody meh the Miz.
Yeah.
And then he cut that promo. Now everybody was like, oh.
How dare you?
Where's this guy been?
Yeah.
This isn't about the living. It's not. No, this isn't about the dead. It's about the living. It's about my sister, my wife. It's about me going from undesirable to ungoddamn deniable. 2019, Cody Rhodes building up to his match with Chris Jericho at fucking Full Gear. God damn.
Yeah.
I shed one for that. Because I felt for that, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I failed to read in that book of yours, Alliance Tale, that you can get for $3 at any random flea market. Oh my God. Woo!
Aside from AJ Lee's pipe bomb, was there any other women's promos that we could add to this list?
No.
Just straight up.
Honestly, no.
No. Okay.
Because she was the one that basically killed the Bella Twins.
She did kill the Bella Twins in that promo. There wasn't anything from like from TNA from the Knockouts era at the beginning of the decade. No. Okay.
Honorable mention
for promo,
also from 2011. Poor John. He got chewed out by CM Punk in the middle of the year, but that wasn't his first ass chewing.
With the Rock?
Because The Rock, that moment when The Rock came back as a special guest host for Mania, and he goes, I'm here for one guy. I saw him in the beginning of his career, thought he was a cool guy. And then from out of the blue, started talking trash about The Rock. And now I'm here. His name's John Cena. I'm sitting on the couch with my kid, and the Cena sucks chants going on, and she doesn't understand why people are chanting Cena sucks. So it's like your moment at the Rumble with the kids. I have to teach these kids, like, you know what? He's for you, but he was for me back in the day. He ain't that no more. You don't know about the Dr. Thugonomics. You're still in second grade. Shut up. But when The Rock broke out John Cena, we went from Austin 316 to Can You Smell What The Rock's Cooking to You Can't See Me. Bruh. That's when like the reality era started kicking in, where people are like, oh, I didn't realize The Rock and Cena had beef. Tweef. I didn't know that exists. I didn't know that can happen. And then now it's
that could be a positive thing. Twitter.
Going into
Twitter for wrestlers.
Going into that promo, you had the moments where The Rock basically took John Cena to school. And then the thing that I liked, the time when he came back, when he actually came back and they started doing those feud segments. One day, John Cena would talk, and then the following Monday, The Rock would come back and talk, to the point where they did it face-to-face for the first time. After that first time, on the second time, John Cena called him out. I was like, what? You don't have your promo scripted on your
it's on hand. Yeah.
What about the Rock concert where he was singing, dissing fucking Vicky Guerrero?
Oh, here in Houston.
Yeah. That was funny.
It wasn't a Savage concert, but he was a heel. That's probably why.
How about your arms are too short to box with God?
Oh,
with Johnny Unitas. Is Johnny Unitas or Triple H?
It was Punk against The Rock.
It was Rock.
Punk and The Rock.
Rock. Your arms are too short.
Yeah, so that's 2012.
Yeah. A lot of good promos.
A lot of good wrestling too.
Yeah.
2010's Give me a match that made your 2010s. When you think back of that decade.
I already said it.
Banks Bailey won.
No. Well, that's one of them. That is one of them. But the one that defines this decade, WrestleMania 30, Brock versus Taker.
Yeah, that's what I got that as my honorable mention.
It's too
for you.
It's too important of a match. Not necessarily means that I like the match or that it was good or anything. It's just that it's so important for the history of WWE and the history of wrestling that like you can't just look past it. It's the same like Hogan Andre at WrestleMania 3. The match was absolute dog shit, but that's what put Mania on the map. You know, everybody goes back and says, "Oh, well, remember when you saw Hogan versus Andre?" People 20 years from now, remember when Brock beat The Undertaker at Mania? That's how significant it is.
I got one for you.
Yes.
I was there for the first one.
Okay.
Okada Tanahashi.
No.
Shut up.
Shawn versus Taker 2.
Oh,
2?
The one in Phoenix?
I couldn't put the first one there because it was just right before the first one.
It was
second
2009.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
The second one was the story build up for the end of, from the end of the first year.
When Shawn Michaels accepted the slammy, and he's like, you know what? I think I got one more. I think I can get you.
And then the build up to that, when it happened was that Taker told him no.
Yeah, was it that first
him.
week where Shawn was in the ring and Taker just looked at him and laughed and walked out?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
And the build up, Royal Rumble. Shawn saying, "I'm gonna win it and I'm gonna face you." When he got knocked out, what happened in the Elimination Chamber? Shawn came out of the fucking floor and super kicked him.
And Jericho won it.
And won it.
Yeah.
So it put that story there, and Taker, as soon as it made him, we're like, okay, I'll give you the match, but put your career on the line.
If I can't beat you, I have no career. Yeah. I'm gonna start again with the decade. I'm gonna start it from the beginning. It's hard not to look. It's hard not to pick this match. Money in the Bank, CM Punk, John Cena.
You stole one of mine.
If you thought RVD's homecoming at ECW One Night Stand 2 was raucous, turn that up to 12 in surround sound
in a bigger arena.
Yeah. Yep. Big Show's getting carted away on a stretcher that pay-per-view, and people are still chanting CM Punk. They don't care about anybody but Punk. Yeah. And oh fuck, dude.
The screw job trying to do it at the very end.
Oh, and then get them mojado. Huevito. Ven, te necesito de ayuda. Ven.
Del taco. Oh, del Rio. Show us over here.
Yeah.
Had two already.
Sasha Banks and Bailey from TakeOver 2015, the Women's Evolution.
One or
the first one?
Yeah, I got that one on my list too.
Yeah. It's just that one again so significant because of the historical aspect of it.
2016. Matt versus Jeff, the final deletion on Impact.
Oh, okay.
This is pro wrestling. This is puro resu. What the fuck is that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's
That's all you got to say about that match.
Like, YouTube it and thank me later. 2017, the Next Generation 60-minute men, Okada versus Omega 2. We love number 3 because it had a start, middle, and end, but that defined the next generation of pro wrestling in that match. Those guys. 2019, there's more than one royal family. Cody Dustin, AEW Double or Nothing. And that promo afterwards. Honorable mentions, Lesnar Taker, WrestleMania 30. Suplex City, 2014, Cena Lesnar. Grave Consequences, Phoenix and Mil Muertes. Just the presentation of that's like, and not saying this in a negative way. If WWE wanted to do a cover song of Lucha Libre, that's it. That's it. Grave Consequences. Yeah. And the arrival of NXT 2015 Elimination Chamber, Cena versus Owens.
You don't want to throw honorable mention to the first War Games?
There's a lot of matches that deserve honorable mentions. I try to narrow it down to like 2 or 3, but that first War Games,
that first War Games was pretty damn good.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on this list. What about?
This is going to be hard to whittle down just from this feud. Ciampa Garganos. The second one probably, because maybe the third one went a little bit too.
That last man standing, I love to death though. The way that finished, that they're both out and Ciampa just fell because he was handcuffed or something.
Yeah.
Fell on his 2 feet. And that's why he wound up winning. Yeah.
I have 2 on my list that you already said Bailey, Sasha. I said Shawn Taker. You brought back up Punk Cena. And you even said Okada, Omega. But you said 2.
Number 2.
I'll go for 1.
Okay.
The introduction.
Yep.
Yeah. The christening of Kenny Omega as a main eventer.
Yeah.
In Wrestle
and
Kingdom. Just
the way they protected the One Wing Angel in that whole match.
Yeah.
That whole feud, they built the whole feud based on he can't hit the one-winged angel. If he hits it, it's done. And number 3 got the payoff because that's what it took.
The payoff was in 3, and in 2 he made it. He did the one-winged
but
angel.
He was so burned out. He just
burned out, and the fact that some of those were landed right there next to the rope where his foot landed there.
Yeah.
So out of that, I got that. But as a number 2 for me, Okada Shibata.
Oh, Dominion?
Yes, but it's not the fact that we lost Shibata. No.
Take that out the picture. If you don't know that Okada, that Shibata's last match is that match is brutal.
Yes. And of course, me knowing I'm the New Japan guy.
Yeah.
Me knowing the history, of course, we all know what Okada could do. Shibata, this was supposed to be his christening, his comeback story, because he left them when New Japan was in the shitters.
Yeah.
Shibata tried his hand in MMA, failed at that.
His return was against Sakuraba, right? At a Wrestle Kingdom. It was it wasn't a never title, but it was like a no holds barred or something like that.
It was his first match. No, his first match back was against Hiroki Goto in an openweight title. And the reason why it became that, it started off with him. Out of when he left, he was projected to be one of the 4. They call it the 4 Musketeers, kind of like your 4 horsewomen or
4 pillars. Yeah,
it was himself,
Okada.
No, it was himself, Tanahashi, Nakamura, and damn, I forgot the other one.
It wasn't Naito yet.
Naito came up when Okada came up, and that was in the shitty years of New Japan. So history lesson.
Yeah. Right.
So when he left, when Shibata left, he left because there was nothing there. That's when they started bringing Sap, Brock Lesnar,
Babo Sapo, Kurt Angle,
even freaking Vader.
Yeah,
got brought in there because they were in the shitters. When he came back, he was blackballed from New Japan. So when he signed, he had to go from the first one to the top. Mm-hmm. And first match, Goto. Then he went against the old faction, which was the 4 old pillars. Beat each and every one of them individual. The last one was like the main boss. And that's when he captured another title. And then he became part of their group to defend them, because back then they used to do their Pro Wrestling Noah against New Japan.
Okay.
Their Survivor Series type thing. Yeah.
And Prime Supremacy.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that prior to him returning to New Japan, he was with Noah. Mm-hmm. So when the people from Noah and their champion came around, it's like, you were with us, what the fuck? So they started brawling to the point that all the Noah guys got injured. Mm-hmm. So they kind of left that hanging because it never ended. It never got his proper ending. Mm-hmm. After that, he went against Tanahashi for a good series, because Tanahashi called them out in his book and on public, you're a piece of shit for leaving us hanging and having me carry this whole company by myself when you were supposed to be there beside me. He got his matches with him, earned his respect, faced against Nakamura, earned his respect too, brought against Ishii, earned his respect too, came up to the top guy, which was Okada. And right where he was supposed to grab that title and say, finish my story, his story actually ended there.
Wow.
He wasn't never supposed to win that match, but by that year, he was supposed to be the next big guy in New Japan. Yeah. Fuck. Imagine Shibata Omega, Shibata Styles.
Ugh. Yeah.
If he was still wrestling now, you would like Jay White getting the fuck beat out of him by Shibata.
Oh,
yeah.
PKs flying all over the place. God damn.
So that's why I have that match as the significance for me. But just the fact that if you take away his last match, that being his last match, the brutality of that match was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And you could earn Okada's respect in that match because he takes a fucking beating, bro.
I'll raise you. If you put down Suplex City, I'll raise you the bitch maker.
Okay. The bitch
you
maker.
Remember that one?
All right.
Yeah. He tried Shibata grabbed him as a rainmaker. As soon as he turned him around, he just and he still holds on to him, picks him up, and does it again.
Torrential downpour, but puro pinche chops.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's a decade, man.
Is that? Are we done?
That's it.
Wow.
What's in the 20s? That makes you hopeful.
Honestly, AEW does make me hopeful. I hope that there is going to be a lot of good stuff that comes out of it. Although, even now, first year or into the new year, first month, I already see that there's a lot of flaws in AEW. The biggest main one is got too many fucking factions. You know, they're just making factions after factions. Now we have, not only is MJF running around with Wardlow, now he's also running around with the Butcher and the Bunny and the Blade, right? Like, goddamn, otro pinche faction. Like, dude, everybody is going to be a faction on there, man. But I hope that they're going to break some of that stuff up, and then we're going to see just badass storytelling, badass matches. So I kind of have a lot of high hopes for them. I also have high hopes for Impact. This whole decade has been about when's Impact going to get off of life support and going to fucking finally croak. But maybe this decade, they're going to do what New Japan did, which is they were dog shit. Now they're not, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, that clock is running for something else now. I'm not looking at the death of Impact.
The death of ROH?
No.
Oh.
I'm looking with the firing of the vice presidents, with his attention being diverted to XFL. Not just that I'm kind of optimistic that the XFL might have learned the lessons from itself and from the AF. I'm thinking the countdown is on before Triple H is in charge of everything in WWE now. And I'm calling it this decade is the decade that Triple H is the next generation of WWE. Completely.
Okay.
Raw, SmackDown, NXT. The days
Yeah.
of Vince McMahon are numbered officially in this decade. Yeah. And the sooner the better.
I'll add to that. Knowing that is the return of the territories.
Yeah.
Basically, right now in the forefront, the one that's doing it along with, because I think Aldous was doing it big before, bringing the title everywhere. The one that's going to bring it into people's views is going to be Marty.
Yeah.
Marty's already doing it. Marty he stayed in ROH, is continuing with New Japan, going to NWA, and you know he's bound to end up in AEW.
No disrespect to Nick Aldis. I like the guy. I liked him as Magnus in Impact. I can appreciate the effort that he did from nothing to make that NWA title what it is now. That was like a grassroots movement.
Yeah.
Marty is not a grassroots movement. He is a face. He is a presence. He is a guy that, as much as I just praise Aldis, if there is a next level, Marty's taking that belt. NWA belt's going to be, or is going to be taken to the next level with Marty Scurll around the world doing what Aldis primarily did here in the U.S. I think Marty's going to really re-legitimize old 10 pounds of gold.
Yeah.
And I'm ready for it, man.
Yeah.
I'm ready for it.
One thing that switching gears a little bit, but still on topic of things that we're looking forward to. We saw the beginning of the women's revolution here at the end of the decade or last half of the decade. But even sitting here, all three of us talking for over 2 hours, talking about the best stuff from the decade, maybe 10% of what we talked about involved women.
Yeah.
15 maybe. I look forward in this next decade, maybe when we do the decade of review of the 2020s, maybe half, maybe 60% of it will be all about like the women. We talked about our promos of the decade, and I even sat here and I asked, are there any women promos of the decade? And we're like, no. Scratching my head this entire time thinking there's gotta be one.
If I could think of a segment, it would probably be the segment
Becky's Bloody Nose.
Bloody Nose.
Yeah. That wasn't a promo, it was a segment.
Yeah.
You know, but
I think WWE took the path to create NXT. I think somebody needs to invest either in Shimmer or Stardom to the point. No, not
Wow.
Shimmer.
Okay.
Shimmer or Stardom to the point where they create performance center to balance out 80% guys, 19% girls, and that 1% of welcome to. But if we're doing a women's movement, we need to balance out that population. So there has to be some kind of stake, some kind of investment, or if WWE wants to take that risk, if they're doing a PC in London, if they're thinking about doing a PC in Japan, they need to
do one in Phoenix.
Somebody needs in that aspect.
Yeah,
there needs to be a female-centric, centered PC type thing, whether it's a Japan dojo or a Shimmer, kind of like dressing room type thing, whatever they want to call it, to where it's we breed the best women and they go on to make
phrasing.
We train women to be the best wrestlers in the world, not to be the best female wrestlers in the world. We train them to be the best wrestlers in the world and bring that population up to where that the promo Becky cut on backstage where, we need to kill the women's title, just make it a title. Well, you know what?
They did it.
Right now, there's still 80% guys on your roster, 20% women. So it's really, it's not conducive to have 50-50 shows where that means mostly all your women get time, but not all your dudes get time. We need to balance that out. In order to balance that out, we need more capable, competent, talented, I don't want to say attractive is the word, but unique women. You can have your Kelly Kellys, you can have your Bella Twins, but we can also have our ODBs, our Piper Nivens, our thing.
Yeah.
You know, but those doors don't need to be open. Those doors need to be built.
And you don't need to put Santino in a bra to do it. You don't need to.
Even though it served its purpose, I understand why I did it, and I think it actually proved the point that the women deserved it. It put the
there
women
was a
over.
lot of
it put the women over.
There.
Yeah, there's a lot for people that are just scratching the surface, don't want to dig deep. You can complain about that, but that served a purpose and it made everybody better. I think in the long run.
Hector,
the doors need to be built, not opened.
You look like you're
for
holding on
for that promo of Becky. They went ahead and took acknowledgement of what she said and applied it in NXT. They took away the women off that title.
I would have done it ass backwards. Because I still need to research because I don't really pay too much attention, but maybe that's because they do such a good job. I need to pay attention to see how UFC references things. In that aspect,
I wouldn't bantamweight.
I would.
The bantamweight is the women's belt.
There's a couple of weight classes that are both men and women.
Okay,
it's towards the lighter weights, the flyweights, the featherweights. So I wouldn't suggest taking away the women in the title. I would suggest adding men's to their titles to make an even playing field. I understand why they want to take away the aspect of women because it's like, oh, we can only have so many women's matches. Yeah, we don't need to classify them. But the reason they're classified, if you want to look at it from the other side of the glass, is because the men aren't. So instead of declassifying, let's label the men.
Yeah.
You know, because it doesn't matter if you're a man or woman. We could still sit up here and say Bailey Sasha from TakeOver was better than half the shit on Raw and SmackDown, whether you have a dick or not.
Yeah.
So it's not about taking away the women. It's putting the classification on the men and just letting everybody decide. Because at this point, the person that the women's badge matters is in the politics side, not on the fan side.
Yeah.
Fans are buying Becky merch, they're buying Sasha merch, they're buying Shayna merch, like they're buying Roman Reigns vests, Nakamura jackets, AJ gloves. It's just in the back where that needs to get fixed. But don't try to like shake it all up into pieces to where nobody understands what's going on. If the problem's in the back, fuck it, fix it in the back.
You talk about the merch. I sent you this today, Hector. I'm gonna let you handle this.
Oh my God.
Bianca Belair is getting a figure with her hair being bendy and really, really long.
Oh,
it's fucking badass.
Actually,
yeah, it's really cool. It's the first time Mattel's done something like that with an extension with the hair, and it looks really fucking cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Hector, do you have anything else?
Honest.
Something you want to look forward to in the next decade?
Actually, I really can't say anything else. Everything is being done so right now. I guess better storytelling from WWE.
Okay,
man, 2020. I'm
continuity.
Do now is mostly because of wrestling. So I'm looking for this decade. This last decade, I've been able to see the country. Mostly because of wrestling. Wrestling in New York, wrestling in California, wrestling in Florida, wrestling. I want to see the world. So I want to go to London. I want to go to Tokyo. I want to go to Sydney and soak up that like I've been soaking up everything around here.
Yeah,
I think that's going to happen sooner or later, a lot sooner than later.
For me, one of like
that's why I can't hate wrestling as much as as much as it disappoints me. I can't hold a grudge on it because I've had so many more positive moments in my life than I've had negative moments of feeling because of, oh, my favorite wrestler didn't get pushed, or oh, this thing sucks, or oh, who's eating dog food, or oh, fucking Lana. You know, the fucking positives on that scale surely outweigh all the negatives I'm seeing on television. And I'm not just poking out WWE's main roster on that. It happens at times too. You know, my heart gets broken when wrestlers, Shibata can't wrestle, Daniel Bryan couldn't wrestle, Edge couldn't wrestle, Paige can't wrestle, fucking wrestlers dying, you know, Hijo de Paraguayo, you know, but still the positives outweigh the negatives for me. So I can never hate it. So I'm just hoping that my love for wrestling opens up my eyes wider to other things around me.
Yeah.
Like going to that, I really want to just get a map and whatever promotion that I go see, I want to get a pen and just.
Oh, that'd be cool, man.
But first, you got to put pins on the top two corners so it don't fall down.
Yes.
All right, guys, we babbled on for about 2.5 hours, damn near. So if you made it here to the end, thank you. Very much appreciated. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed this doing this episode. Because I don't know, I had a lot of fun. It seemed to be more positive than our regular episodes when we're just dissecting the shit.
It felt like we took you on a trip down memory lane for the most part.
That's true too, especially for a guy that has a bad memory.
I need to screenshot some of these faces you were making.
I was like, oh yeah, that happened.
We show you the history of the wrestling.
Yeah. See, that's the problem. See, it's a blessing and a curse to have a bad memory because it's like you don't remember shit, but then when you get reminded of it, it's like it's new again. You know. But yeah, thank you so much if you made it all the way through. When is our next episode and what's it going to be about, Chris?
I have no idea, man. It just depends if somebody wants to do a preview of New Beginnings.
Sure.
Next week, we'll hammer out a date. You come over here. We'll break down some stuff. Moxley and Suzuki. Oh,
nice.
That has to be like this co-main event right there.
Nice. And then after that, we may have something we're
previewing Takeover Portland.
And reviewing the Saudi show, maybe?
No, probably reviewing New Beginnings.
New Beginnings.
So if you get here early enough, I'll feed you what you need to eat before we get on the air.
Okay. Or you two could just do a New Japan one. I don't really add
after.
Oh,
I'll show you what you need to watch.
Oh, okay. Cool. Yeah. All right.
We're skipping the Saudi preview dealy because that's on a Thursday and that's during the day. So by the time if we pre-tape the show, it'll probably air before after the show already happened. And if we're doing it live, we wouldn't have time to watch it anyway. So we're just gonna scrap that. Which I'm pretty sure something's gonna happen that's gonna be like, fuck, we should have done a show.
Yeah. That being said, adios, my friends. Keep it classy.
Sayonara.
Did you press the thing?
I'm not gonna let this drag this time. I got it's late.
Just press the fucking thing.
I'm pressing it.
Woo!
Oh,
That's some good stuff.